Man, who'd you get to do that music? That's awesome.
I don't know. Uh, it was the music we could afford. And,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
it was.
Was that the one with a lot of zeros in the front instead of the zeros in the back?
Yeah, yeah. Point. It was a decimal and then a bunch of zeros. Yeah, you know. However, speaking of decimal points and a lot of zeros, um, we don't really talk crypto on here much, but that's something that uh, I have some faith in. It's taken a little bit longer to do its thing than I thought it would, but I just saw Bitcoin's up like 7% today. It's up to like 38,000 or 39,000. So
I still
starting to
see
cook,
more
starting to
and more
cook.
of those little kiosks popping up in just random places.
Yep. When I was in San Diego a few years ago for San Diego Comic Con, and like tons of places there take Bitcoin. Like you can go buy a car there with Bitcoin. And
Yeah.
this was, gosh, that was probably 6, 7 years ago at this point. It's like I was like, oh, this is great. You know, it'll start popping up everywhere, and it's just, of course, we're always going to be the last to get anything up where
Yeah.
we are, but um, it's interesting to see it, making its moves. And I just, when it drops way down, I buy a little bit, and it goes up, I let it sit. And drops way down, I buy a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
I just kind of let it go at that, and someday I'll hopefully sell it and have a good chunk of money, or it'll be some kind of currency and I can use it.
There you go.
Um, it's not a go to zero type of thing as some people, the fear mongers, wanted you to believe years ago.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, a little off topic for our normal discussions, but
Yeah, we
kind of,
jumped right in. I think you owe all of our listeners
well,
a hello first.
I do. Yo, 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 YouTube. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you're watching this recorded, thanks for watching this. Hopefully, you can follow along with the chat and join us live in future episodes and be a part of it as well. But yeah, we have when we started talking about the 0.0000, made me think of I don't know how much you know about Bitcoin, but it's measured in satoshis. So each place in the decimal is called a satoshi. It's named after the guy who created the currency.
Mm-hmm.
And but if you had 0.000001 Bitcoin, you'd actually be doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
So, all right, but
So
yeah, thank you so much for providing the music. I enjoy it every week. It does sort of fire up the show and get us going. It's a little bit of a Stu intro, which I know he's the real star of the show. So,
he sure
um,
is.
yeah, we all appreciate it. So we're back here with myself. My name is Adam. We've got Charlie with us, and Stu hanging around somewhere back there.
Dude, where is he? He was chewing on some grass somewhere. Oh, there he is.
Oh, well, hopefully he wasn't chewing on your computer cords. I mean, if
he
you bow out tonight, we'll know, I guess.
he might have been because he knows the cards are off limits.
Fair, fair.
Computer
Yeah,
cords or the
cards,
cards, you
cards
know?
are cards are a no go, no go. So I had anything particularly interesting happen this week for you so far, or since last episode, I should say.
You know, sales are we've been talking about the holidays
Hmm.
and a slowdown. I have seen a little bit of gentle slowdown. Still seeing sales every day, but things were starting to boom for a while. Now they've kind of stalled out a little bit, which I'm not too nervous about because we talked about that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Made a trip to one of my local LCS. Can I say LCS stores? That's kind of a
Mhm.
duplication, right?
Local
LC
card
stores.
stores. Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on if you use the S as a shop or a store, because you could say my local card shop store, which I
Yeah,
guess
that's
it's
true.
still sort of
That's true.
yeah. But
But
anyway.
made the first trip in there since like early football season because I was so busy.
Mhm,
As you know, we have really two card shops here, and
mhm.
the one that is closest to work, I used to go there every day on lunch and just go through their value boxes and stuff or buy some supplies, and hadn't been in a while, but had some really good interaction with the owner and made me feel like we talk about building relationships with some of these folks, and I felt like he knew who I was. He cut me a break on some stuff and said, "Oh, just he actually he didn't even have me pay for everything I got because he didn't want to run a card. It was a small order, and he's like, just give it to me next time." So I'm like, "All right." He recognizes I'm in here all the time. That's
Sure.
what I'm working for, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I've been going to that shop since I was a little kid, 10,
Yeah,
11 years old. So
yeah,
it's funny when I go in there now and it's like we're both adults, and
yeah,
um, you don't discuss it. It would be a weird conversation, but
yeah.
you just kind of know. He's like, oh, hey, it's that kid who used to be in here. Now he's an adult, and I'm sure he's got a lot of customers like that. But
Right, right.
yeah, it's pretty interesting how um, small shops do still exist. And it's
Mhm,
important
mhm.
to have them stick around. And this is the same shop that I bought all the Santa Claus cards at a really good price.
I don't know if it's that one or the other one. This is the one over by the hardware store.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, that's the one. Okay,
Hmm. Yep.
all right.
So
Yeah,
I knew which one you were talking about.
I thought so. Yeah, yeah. Our
Yeah.
friend Mike there. Yeah,
Yep, Mike. Yep.
yep.
Did you know
Um,
he's looking at retiring next year?
yeah. So interesting. As I was in there, a guy came in and tried to buy him out of the building.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's got two daughters, I believe, or two kids at least, and he's got the last one was finishing college, and he's like, "Yep, I'm waiting until the end of that, and then I'm gonna try to hang it up." So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see where it goes from there.
Yeah, it's a
All right,
nice little shop. I like
it
it.
is.
I typically go there for all my supplies. I feel out of the two shops, they have the
Hmm.
best selection of supplies.
Yep.
And then he does have a value card section, which I was telling you the other day when I was in there that he kind of cleaned it up a little bit and changed it up. It used to be he'd have like 5 or 6 big monster boxes, and they were all individually priced, and he just had like a half off sign on it. But
Yep.
you would have to move boxes to get to the bottom ones and look at it. But I went in the other day; it was all nice and clean and streamlined, and everything was priced at $1. So, and as we know, the more you buy from him, the more he's willing to work. So,
Yep. Yep.
um,
That's how it should be, right? Just as it should be.
yeah. And
And
then
that's oh, go ahead.
I couldn't leave without buying something different. Like I felt like something different. So I did leave with a box of cards. It was not my typical baseball or football or anything though. I got this Washington Chronicles, and it's probably backwards as we look at it,
Nope,
right?
it's forward. It's
Is
forward.
it okay?
Yep.
So I'm kind of a history nut. So I got these Washington Chronicles factory set. 2022 historic autographs, and I opened it up, and I was really, I was kind of geeking out over it. It's really cool. It's all historical, um, kind of like
Documents and stuff.
the pictures you would see in history books when you're
Hmm.
studying history, but in trading card format. And then there's like 10 parallels that are really sharp, and seem to have a decent market for it. And all for all intents and purposes, I believe I will sell the inserts that pay for the rest of the box, and then I'll have
Nice.
have the rest of the base cards as well. But this
Did you
with the
pull an
factory,
auto?
no, with a factory set, you
No.
don't. I don't think you get an auto. So it's the complete 220 card set plus 10 parallel cards. Radiant out of 699, Alloy out of 199, Aurora out of 49, and only 1,000 sets made.
Okay.
So a little bit of a limited set. It does give you one of each of those serial numbered parallels. So I did get an out of 49.
Okay.
Pretty sharp. It's kind of like a gold finished card. It's really nice. I could probably
Who,
pull
who
one out
makes
here.
those? Who's the manufacturer?
Let me see. Distributed by Historic Autograph Company, Pottstown, PA.
Okay.
So it is kind of like a one-off manufacturer.
Yeah.
Let me see here. See if I remember which side of the box I put these inserts on. And of course, I went to the
What
wrong side.
what do you charge you for it? What do you got to pay for that?
This is about $45.
Oh, okay, so it's not bad.
No, no, I figured, even if I don't find a lot, I end up flipping. It's a cool set to go through with my kids and stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, sure.
like I said, I am kind of a history nut, so just looking through it myself. So it's everything related to Washington too. So there's some other historical figures, a lot of landmarks. So this is the out of 49. So you can see it's
Hold on. Let me put you.
yep. If I turn it a little, you can see it's got a foil finish on there.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I can see that.
pretty sharp.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Some of the other, like, this is the out of 699, and it's got like a um almost, well, I'm trying to think, almost like an embossed image on there.
Okay.
It's a slightly different print of the group on there. See, this is a 699. It's got that same type of print on there. So all the people on this are kind of raised up. It's tough to see,
Gotcha.
the way that is. Where's the 499? Oh, there's a 199. Oh, so that's a cool one as well. Again,
Oh yeah.
foil. This is Benedict Arnold.
Nice.
Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Benedict Arnold. And this is the other 199 Robert E. Lee.
Oh, so you got all the bad guys.
Well, it's more fun to be a bad guy, right?
I'm not serious when I say that. I was just, anyway. I don't want to get into any kind of politics at all.
Did I ever tell you one of my last football stories from this season? We were playing an away game, and to get to the press box on the varsity game on Friday night, I had to walk past the student section of the opponent's team. And as I was walking by, boos rained down on me like I was a
that feels so
wrestler or
good.
something.
That feels so
I
good.
ate it up, man. I
Oh,
stopped,
yeah.
I turned around, I
Yeah.
gave him the eye.
When everyone hates you, it means you're doing something right.
That's right.
For the most part, and yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a cool. I think that's a cool purchase. It's something fun to have. It's something you enjoy.
Yeah.
You can list them. You got some parallels. You got some numbered stuff. It allows you to expand your store a little bit and do some new things. I think that's awesome. I didn't have any real big purchases this week. Did I buy anything this week? Oh, I bought a blaster of Mosaic. Nothing fancy. I got the Packer quarterback. I got a green Mosaic of him. Sold that pretty much instantly.
Okay.
The backup quarterback. I can't think of his name right now, but I think there's some potential. Oh, Jordan Love won't work out. This guy will play. I don't know. Kind of hope, hanging it on a hope that I did pull a Bryce Young. I pulled a Hendon Hooker. There's a couple of decent rookies, but nothing big numbered or
Okay.
crazy inserts or anything. But nice looking product. I always thought Mosaic was underrated, and it's really starting to come up now.
Okay.
A lot more people are talking about how it's a really good product. So
Yeah.
and you compare it to Prism, there's a lot more adventure in the boxes. There's the stained glass, and there's some really cool kaleidoscope car inserts are really cool. So I think it's starting to get a little bit more attention, versus Prism's kind of a boring design every year. It's kind of the same thing every year. And, I mean, to some degree, Mosaic is too, but because it's all those kind of angles and things like that, they can do a couple of other fun things with it. I really like this year's look. I think the honeycomb inserts are really cool.
Okay.
Parallels. Yeah, there's just some neat stuff. You have your silver, which is like your straight kind of refractor card, but then you've also got the Mosaic silver, which is kind of that diamond pattern on it. And I don't know, I just think it's a brand that's come a long way, as far as the collectors and the resale market and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but that was
really haven't checked out much new product lately. Now that I've got a little time back in my day, I've been trying to catch up on some back stock I've had. So, like,
Hmm.
I have friends and family that occasionally will send me a binder of cards and say, "Hey, look through it, see what you got. You know, if there's something in there, just share it with me. Otherwise, use them for what you want." So, I got through two binders of older cards, like 80s and 90s cards, this past week, and there was some decent stuff in there, Jordans and
Huh? Never go
yeah,
wrong with Jordan.
Shaqs and I did find almost a complete set of these muscle car card sets too.
Yeah, yep, I've
Um,
seen that.
yeah, and those seem to have a decent market too. So it was almost like going to a card show without going to a card show, right? Like
Sure, sure.
I went with them all, and I'm like, okay, these are I'll probably just put these right in my dime box. But these ones, I figure I can sell for this. I throw
Hmm.
them some cash, and everybody's happy. And they're all ratty binders, but some of the cards in them were fun to look at.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Where are your listings at? How you doing there?
That's a great question. So I didn't hit 1700. I had hoped I was going to hit 1700 this week, but
Hmm.
I have steadily been selling some more. So that's a good challenge to have, right? So I am at
Yeah.
1,677 active listings. So I don't believe I
Okay.
made a ton of progress from this time last week.
Okay, but that means you got sales, so that's good. I mean, that's
Right.
ultimately the goal is
Yeah.
to sell stuff. Yeah, I was just talking to another eBay seller yesterday, and he said the same thing. He's like, "Well, sales are down, but I'm getting a bunch of stuff listed." And it's like, yeah, you kind of you have to go wherever the hole is, right?
Right.
If you have a lot of sales, you have to do that, and your listings, get set aside. That's just kind of how it is. So, um, yeah, at this time, as it's a tad slower, as we get through the holidays here, it'll be nice to get those listings up. I'm at 32,795, so almost 32.8,
Okay.
um, which isn't too bad. That's a decent growth in a week, a few hundred. Um, and I sell a lot, so that's the hard part, of course.
Yeah.
But I did reach a dollar amount milestone. My listings total over 350,000 now.
Nice.
Yeah, so
We've talked about that before, and I always
now
kind of
that's asking
neglect.
price.
Yeah, I kind of
But
always neglect to look at that. So looking
mhm.
at mine, my inventory value is uh, just shy of $6,200 right now.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing how much it grows. Whenever I go back in and look at it, I don't look at it real often either. The reason it kind of showed up to me tonight was right before we got on. I was killing a couple minutes by doing some end listings and sell similar. I try to do that, at least once a day. I did it a couple times today as I had time, but it's always fun to do before the show because it puts some new stuff out there real quick.
Yeah.
Uh, and hopefully I have some sales, some offers or whatnot during the show, and kind of close my night out with that. But yeah, so I thought that was a pretty significant milestone. It's a decent asset
Absolutely.
value. Um,
It blows my
it's
mind when I look at the difference in scales between our businesses, and
mhm.
like we talk back and forth. Like you'll say, "Wait till you get 30,000 listings," and in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, a
I
decade from now." But
Yeah, I shouldn't say stuff like that because yeah, it's no one's problems are bigger than anyone else's. It's just it it's funny because sometimes when you bring like, oh, this happened to me, and I'm like, yeah, I get like 8 of those a week.
yeah, yeah,
Um, this didn't show up in the mail. I had a guy who bought two Sports Illustrated for Kids cards, which are very condition iffy, as of course, and both of them had the photo. One had a little like cut on the side of it, and one had a little bit of paper loss in the bottom corner.
yeah.
And he messaged me, and he's like, dude, these are worthless. It's got this mark, and I'm like, it's in the picture. Like, look at the
Right.
picture of the card. And so he's like, oh, send me a refund, and I'm like, well, I ain't refunding you. You can mail them back to me. I'll find
Yeah,
another buyer for them. So sometimes you have to. My point is, sometimes you have to kind of watch for that too, because that could be a scam, right? Like,
yeah.
you don't want negative feedback, and this has a rip in it. Even though he saw it in the photo, he's probably like, "Oh, it wasn't in, all plastered all over the description or something."
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get these cards for free, and nope, I'll send you the 63-cent postage. You can mail them back to me,
Yeah.
on something like that. So, and then I blocked him as a buyer going forward, just because I just don't want to deal with that kind of a thing.
That actually reminds me, another one of the
So,
cards I came across in those binders was an SI for Kids card, that
yeah,
was, torn out. It was kind of your average NBA player. I don't even remember who it was, like, uh, I don't know, Larry Johnson or something like that, you know?
sure, sure. Yeah, and that's the one kind of hard part about those is they're torn out, so they could be torn out really poorly.
Right.
Sometimes they're printed really bad. It's just a magazine, and
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so I have good photos. I've any of the cards that would have, even if I have 10 copies of that card, if one has a drastically different centering or look or damage or something like that, I'd take an individual picture of that card or an individual listing of that card so that you know exactly what you're getting. But it was funny because he took a picture of what was wrong with the cards and sent them to me, and I'm like,
The
dude,
same picture that was on the
yeah,
listing.
this is the picture that's in the listing. Like, what did you think you were gonna get? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Sometimes you run into stuff like that, and I have offers, I have things like that. Um, I had a card where I listed it basically correctly. The picture was correct, all the description was correct, except the card number. I must have
Yeah.
done like a series of cards, and I never updated the number in that listing. So card sold, sent it out, and they're like, "Oh, this is card number 52. I need card number 51." I'm like, "Yeah, but the description, the picture of the card, everything says card 52. How did you think you were going to get 51 out of this?" Unless you didn't know what card 51 looked like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and that's fine. It is, I did make, in that case, I definitely made an error. I had the wrong card number in it, but um, and it's a good customer of mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I said, you know what? Just keep it. What's the one you were supposed to get? He's like, this one. He's like, just hang on to it. He's like, I got a few more. I'm gonna bought another 5 or 6 cards today, and I'll throw the other one in there with it. That way nobody's paying postage back and forth. I don't want to
Right.
hassle trying to get the other card back. Is a $2.99 card. I'll just take that out of the store. I'll send him. In the end, it ended up better for me because I got another sale out of it, which maybe I wouldn't have gotten. So,
Yeah, and that
um,
that kind of
you know,
reminds me of the issue we were talking about today, where I had an issue with a sale, and my whole thought process was just, how do I make this right for the brand and make them still
mhm,
want to come back? Yes, there was an issue with this one card, but how can I make it right so that they give me another chance? And it was an inventory issue. I went to pull a card and I couldn't find that card, so I gave them some options, and they were happy to wait a couple extra days while I get them that card, and
mhm,
I'll make it right by giving them a few extra cards with it. And we talked about they were very appreciative that right up front I messaged them and said, "Hey, I'm having a trouble pulling this card,
yep,
but I have a same card coming to backfill my stock, and give me 3 more days and I'll get it out to you." And they're like, "Heck yeah, I can wait. I really appreciate you letting me know up front. I'll give you 5 stars on communication for that." And that's, again, you do what's right for the brand, right? And
yep,
and the last thing I said in my message to him is, honestly, my whole goal here is just to make it a good transaction for you,
mhm.
whatever it takes to make it a good transaction for you. So,
Well, and I think we're so expecting poor customer service these days because that's like 99% of what you get.
hmm
Um, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's also the way things are, and then everything else is automated.
yeah,
So you don't have, I think that's one of the things that really still helps eBay stick around and be viable as a way to run a small business, because I think for the most part, if you're buying something on eBay, in your head you realize there's a person on the other end of that, right?
yeah.
Like, if, let's say, and what I mean by that is, versus shopping another way, right? So let's say you go to Amazon and buy something. Do you think any person is there, like, dealing with your you know what I mean?
you don't think about that, yeah, but
Right, because there's definitely there isn't even a person who picks your item. There's a robot that drives down the aisle and
in
grabs it
many
out of the
cases,
box.
yeah, yeah,
You know, and then it's sent through a bunch of logistics, computers that tell it what truck to move to. And other than the person who drops it off on your porch, there really isn't a human. And that person, of course, that drops it off on your porch has nothing to do with the transaction other than they deliver it. So yeah, I think the customer service is overlooked, and I think that when you provide good customer service, that's huge. And it's not just to preserve your feedback and save you from a defect rate of refunding and all that kind of stuff. It's literally just that's what you're supposed to do
right.
when you're in a transaction with a person. They didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
You listed the card, they bought it, you don't have it. There's nothing they can control.
Yeah, yeah,
The only time I get frustrated with it is when shipping stuff doesn't work out because I'm like, well, I don't I don't drive it there. Like, well,
yeah,
this took 3 days longer than it should have. I don't know. I put it in the mail that day. I don't.
yeah,
So that one's tough. But ultimately, and what I always tell myself, and I've had to do this for years, doing basically mail order type business. It's your responsibility for that product until it arrives in the customer's hands.
yeah.
However, you decide, if you don't like the shipping, then don't send it USPS. Send everything UPS and try to get customers to pay up for a better shipping service. Whatever. You have to decide, how that fits into what you're trying to do. And
Yep, absolutely.
yeah. So as far as other stuff that I've listed this week, I have these which are really cool. So I got that really awesome vintage lot that came in that cool designer box. Did you see the box
Yeah, and I
with all
saw it on
the
your video. Yeah.
decoupage on it and stuff?
Hmm.
But I got a bunch of these mini card albums. Have you ever seen these before? Here, I'm gonna put me on the
I
focus
have
here.
not.
So there's one for each team, and then cards come in little like stamp sheets. So you can see
Okay.
like where there's ones affixed here and where there's ones missing.
Yeah.
So this is the
Okay.
Steelers book, and there's a few stamps in some of these. I got like 9 or 10 different teams, but I just thought they were kind of cool, a little
Yeah.
different. I've had the stamps themselves before. They come in basically a card sheet, like a regular size card like this, but then it's like each corner is a different stamp. So you end up with like 4 stamps, and they're kind of perforated, and you can tear them out
I have
and
some
put them in the bowl.
retro cards that mimic that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that there's a few different sets that try to do stuff like that. You had like the 3 panel cards from the 80s basketball stuff. The famous Bird and Magic Johnson rookie is that
Yep.
way, and um, a couple other things. But this was kind of the first time where it was like a mini sticker album kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just thought they were pretty cool. Um,
We should probably jump in the chat before we get too far behind.
yeah, probably. Well, we're only half hour in. Come on, we're doing all right.
That was free flow chat for 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, it was. Been a whole week, we got a lot of stuff to say. All right, so yes, let's do that. Urethra Franklin's back with us. Thanks for joining us again. Happy to have you here. Adam, Charlie, Stewart with the winger shirt and goatee. Nice. Yeah, I shaved up a little bit.
I see that. You cleaned
Actually,
yourself up.
right before the show, I'm like, what? I look like crap, and I got to be on TV tonight. I'm a big star. I better call my makeup lady and have her clean me up a little bit. And so that's what we did. Because
I'm rocking the WKRP Thanksgiving shirt because
Cincinnati. I got Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai tonight.
Swear on my life, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Sure. I used to watch WKRP. Yeah.
You did you? Yeah. That was a great show.
Oh yeah, that was a good show. She says she just realized how different the show might be if Charlie's name was Steve.
Oh yeah, the abbreviation would be a little different, huh?
Yep. ASS. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. We can go down a rabbit goat hole with that one.
Rabbit goat hole back in the house.
Speaking of rabbit goat hole, should we show the picture of your fancy new card you got this week?
Fancy,
You have it with you,
which one?
or is that not a card you got? The one you just showed me a picture of like an hour ago.
The stained glass?
No, 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 no. The jackass
Oh,
card.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I don't
Yeah,
know. Are we gonna get censored by showing that?
I don't know. I guess we'd find out.
I do have it here.
We could just describe it and tell others to look it up.
But let me, before I show you that one, let me show you one other one, because I've showed this card when I first picked it up. I got this at the Milwaukee Card Show, and I found myself having a greater appreciation of this today than I did the day I bought it, because I just listed it today. But this is a
Hold on.
Yep, go ahead, pop it
Okay,
up there. This is a lenticular Daphne card from
nice,
Scooby Doo, and when you tilt it, she goes action into kung fu.
nice.
That is awesome, if you ask
That is
me.
awesome. Yeah,
Like that makes me say maybe I should buy my own cards sometimes.
right.
But the card you're talking about, let's see, it is after dark, right? Is this live after dark?
It's 8:30. It's not really. It's not really late.
I
It's late for us because we're old. But I mean,
I
Stuart's
do
ready to
hear my
party.
kids upstairs, and hopefully they're not watching tonight. But yeah, I can throw that other card up there. I've
You
got it
could
here, right?
you could edit it a little bit. You know, put a thumb on it or something maybe,
Like
and
this.
just
Yeah.
do it. Have a
Oh,
description of what's going on here.
this is Johnny Knoxville in a nice, honest pose with a pile
Oh
of.
man, and now you freeze up. What's going on?
What's that? Yeah, I did not realize what that pile was. I'll show it one more time real quick. What that pile was until I was really looking closely at it today, and I was listing it, and I had zoomed in on the serial number because it's out of 50. And when I took the
Mhm.
zoomed in
Yeah,
photo, I was like, wait a minute, what are those?
they're crayons, right? I think they were crayons.
So funny you say that, because initially, just glancing at it, I was like, what is that? A pile of chalk or big crayons or
Hmm. Yeah,
something?
it is. It's big crayons,
Yeah,
big
that's what
big
we'll go
chalks,
with.
real big chalks. That's funny. Urethra says I got a bunch of new, well, appropriate, I guess. I got a
I
bunch of
guess
Nudie
so.
Girl cards in a lot recently. So 80s, big hair, high heels, neon. I'm sure you've all seen them before.
I've
I've
come across
seen
them. Yeah.
some. There's quite a bit of movement for those on eBay. You have to cover up, certain pictures, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a market for that stuff.
I've come across them when I've researched cards before, and I didn't know the full name of the card, and
Hmm.
certain parts of the name pulls up some of those in the search results, and I was like,
Sure.
there's really a market for these cards.
Sure. I mean, well, think about it. Like, there's people who collect old Playboys and stuff like that. I mean,
True, I've
it's
seen the Playboy sets. Yep.
yeah. I mean, whatever. Um, there's worse things you can do with your life and your time and your money.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Those are cool Charlie trading cards for the kids in AP class. I'm assuming she's referring to
The
the
Washington Chronicles.
Washington cards.
Yep.
MD Sports Cards has joined us. Thanks for being here. Happy to have you as usual. Was surprised to not see either of you guys in Appleton on Sunday. Pretty slow, unfortunately. I kind of noticed that last time I was at the Appleton show. I had kind of like Charlie. I had just a ton of stuff sitting around that I had to list. So I try not to get to every show. Otherwise, you just buy. Um, to quote in sync, you buy, and you never, list. So, yeah, so I try to pace myself with those. I do just shows every couple of weeks. I did not buy cards at a show this past week because I had bought this. I gotta show it just because it's too cool. I bought this giant decorated shoebox of cards that had some really nice vintage stuff in it. I did make a video of it, of course. And Yeah, that's a pretty good sized box to try to list. So
Yeah.
now that being said, Charlie and I are going to a show on Saturday this week down in the valley. It's the Cardboard Legacy Show. So I think this is the first time they're doing it. We'll see how it goes. I like first time shows. Sometimes you can get some new dealers. Um, I don't know. We'll see. There really isn't any other shows going on Saturday, so I think we could get a decent turnout. For dealers. I really don't care how many people go to buy. To be honest with you, I just want dealers to be there that sell stuff I want to buy.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the buy side, but yeah, I think it'll be a fun show, and Charlie and I haven't done a show together in a couple of months, so that'll be a good time.
Do we want to give it a full plug with the details?
Sure, yeah.
So this is the Cardboard Legacy Community Card Show from 10 to 3 this Saturday at Rolling Thunder Lanes in Neenah.
We've got a bowling alley in Neenah, which means that'll be easy for us to get a meal when we're done.
What are they going to do? A cosmic card show? Turn off the lights and get all the neon going?
And you know what's funny about that? When I was a little kid and card shows first started to be a thing, like remember you had to look in the back of Beckett magazine to see the the listings for the card shows and stuff. The ones we had in Green Bay, do you know where the Rush Center is? I assume.
I certainly do.
Okay, there's that little hotel next to it. I think it used to be like a Holiday Inn or something like that. It's been there forever. It refuses to go away. I'm sure the
Coach's Corner used to be there or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that area hates it and would love to tear that down and put up something actually useful. But anyway, they did a monthly card show there, and it was this little dinky, rinky-dink, hotel thing. But then there was also one at a bowling alley every month. And they charged $1 cover charge to get in. I mean, back then, it's crazy to even think that now. But at least around here, they don't charge for shows. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. You'd always walk in and go past the arcade. I just remember as a little. I don't have a great memory, but I remember like little things. Yeah. And I just remember walking in, and I'd walk past the arcade machines, and I'd walk past like 10 lanes of bowling, and then there was this little crappy conference room, off to the left, and a person sitting there with the metal cash box, and you gave them $1, and you go in, and it was just packed full of 1986 Topps traded, baseball sets and junk like that. And yeah, so it's funny. It'll be funny to go to one at a bowling alley because I haven't been to one at a bowling alley in probably 30 years, 25 years. I mean, it's crazy.
The last time I was in a bowling alley, I injured myself, and it was only like 3 months ago.
Yeah, not much of a bowler. It's just never really been my thing. It's okay once in a while for fun or for a party. Like I do one for scouts, and I tend to bowl when it's like an event thing, right? I've done a couple charity events where it's at a bowling. I've worn costumes at bowling alleys. Kid's birthday party, something like that. It's kind of how it appears. But yeah, it'll be fun to go to a show at a bowling alley. I don't know, it's just different. So I hear they've got 35 tables, so it's not going to be a huge one, but it's not a super tiny one either. So and it's not a huge drive for us. So I think that'll be a fun one to test out.
It's a good way to spend the day, and it's kind of compact, right? 10 to 3. Not super long.
Yep, shorter one. Yeah, 10 o'clock is kind of nice. Starts a little bit later, and we can get in. 35 tables won't be hard to get to what we need to get to, and then grab some lunch. Still have some day left, to do some other things. We're starting to put up some of our Christmas stuff here, so we have 14 trees we put up, so we got to start early. Got a bunch of the outdoor stuff done. We want to get the rest of the outdoor stuff up this weekend before we hit cold and snow and all those fun things. And maybe I'll show a picture or a video of it. I do a snowfall. Have you seen my display? It's pretty cool. It's kind of unique. So I have like a snowfall that goes all over my house and my woods and stuff. So it's like I have my own personal snowfall. It's fun.
We do kind of a big thing too. We do like we have you've been in my house, right? It's been a while, but
yeah, it's been a while. So,
So in the living room, we have that big picture window,
Mhm.
and we move all the furniture out of there, and I do like a 3-tiered Christmas village with a train running around it in
Oh,
the
sweet.
window, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's a big
Yeah,
family event every year.
they make some amazing like Christmas village pieces now. It's crazy. Like I
Yeah,
go into Menards or any of those places where they've got a bunch of stuff up on display, and yeah, they're really cool. I try not to get into too much of that. Like we have enough going on with the Christmas stuff here. I don't try not to get into that. But Bree has like a couple little houses that she put lighting in, and she bought a
yep,
little looks like a little skating pond she bought this year to sort of
yep,
throw in it, but it's smaller. We have a bay window in our dining room, and she sets them up in there. It looks really cool. Puts down the fake snow and does all that.
yeah.
So we have a little one, um, but yeah, we're not hosting Thanksgiving, but we're hosting Christmas at my house this year. So it's like now it's legit. I have to get everything going and
Yeah.
up
Now
and
you got a show to put on.
show to put on. Picked up my ginger. Every year I do a gingerbread house with Luna. It's kind of a daddy daughter thing we do, and so I found this winter castle this year that we're going to build, and yeah, so I'm excited. We're really getting into the season. And as far as sales go, I knew they would be a little bit slower on cards. So one of the things I'd been doing was selling a bunch of other stuff. I sold a bunch of action figures and some toys and some plush stuff, and I have a box of stuff I told you I'm going to bring to the KI show, and we set up as sellers.
Yep.
The toys that just I don't really think will do that well online, but maybe I can get a couple bucks for them at a show. So this is a good time of year to sort of maybe lay back on the cards a bit and look at selling a few other things. This is clean it out. Action figures, toys, video games, any of that stuff. That's the stuff that's bonkers this time of year.
I
So
might have to buy a couple Funko Pops from you for Christmas
you
present.
might. I will. I'll have a load with me. I've sold quite a few. I had a lot of Star Wars action figures, a lot of boxed stuff. Still in the box is easy to move, easy to sell. So, but I have plenty left yet too.
And unless you have Salacious Crumb, I'm not interested.
Um, I don't have I have a Salacious
Look at you,
Crumb
you're
pop.
taking me all serious.
I am because Salacious Crumb is serious, dude. That's like the goat.
I
You know,
know.
he's
He's
he's the
awesome.
goat. He's the goat of little Weasley puppets.
Yep.
Um, he's. Do you know what species he is?
I have no
I'm gonna
idea.
do your trivia. He's a Kowakian monkey. Yep.
Really?
hmm So I have a shoulder one that's got like a puppeteering, so it's got like the bulbs and stuff, where you
Okay.
squeeze it, but it's got one bulb where when you squeeze it, it kind of makes him turn his head back and forth, and then there's another
Okay.
bulb that makes him open his mouth, and then he does when he opens his mouth wide enough, then the sound kicks in and it does
Is,
the.
is he friends with Fritz the
So
Wampa?
he is friends with Fritz Wampa. Everyone's friends with Fritz. What are you gonna not like him? He's gonna tear
It's
your
pretty
arms
hard
off.
not to like him, right?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I have that one, which obviously I'm never giving that one up. The only Funko Pop one I have is in like a pack with like Jabba and all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I do have a little plush one that I got signed by Tim Rose. I was in an event with Tim Rose. Actually, we were at a friend's house. It was really weird. Tim Rose was the puppeteer for
Okay.
Salacious Crumb. So he was the one who laid down in the box for like 8 hours and put his arm up like this to,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I do
So he,
recall, gosh, it was like late 90s, early 2000s when Micro Machines came out with these little micro play sets, Star Wars
Mhm,
themed. And I
sure.
remember getting like Jabba's throne room, and it had the floor that opened up to the
hmm
dungeon pit there, and it did
Yep.
have a little Salacious Crumb on it.
Nice. Yeah, stuff like that. Those are the things that are hard to hang on to. People will pay up
Yeah.
for stuff like that, and but yeah, he had not to go too far off to the side here of what we're
Rabbit
supposed to
Gold
talk
Hole.
about, but well, he worked with Jim Henson, like personally. Him and Jim Henson he was like one of Jim Henson's first puppeteers.
Okay.
And everybody told Jim he was crazy, when he came up with this idea of making this puppet show, and so he had to come to America and all that. Tim Rose is English, by the way, too. So, but he came in and oh no, what he was telling us was a story about Harrison Ford, right? So he was in the box, and he was doing the thing, and he had a microphone like hooked up to him because that was the only way he could like communicate with directors and whatever.
Yeah.
And Harrison was in, the Carbonite block at the time and stuff, and he didn't realize his mic was on, and it was not in the middle of a shot or anything like that. But he said something about Harrison Ford, maybe being a baby, about being uncomfortable, and he's like laying down in a box.
Yeah.
There's no light in there. He's like, there wasn't even any light. He's like, it was the weirdest thing. And he said something about Harrison, and Harrison's like, I want him fired. I won't come back to the set till he gets fired. So the director comes over, and he heard Harrison say all this. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I lost my job, over this.
Yeah.
The director comes over and tells him, hey, Harrison won't come back until you're fired, so you're fired. He's like, okay. And so he starts getting up to get out of the box, and the director's like, well, where are you going? He's like, well, you fired me. He's like, yeah, I did. Get back down there and puppeteer that puppet. Right. So he's like, how's Harrison going to know if he's in the box or not? Right. He's not going to go look or anything. So
that was like a wink, wink.
Yeah. So he did what Harrison said. He came over and he fired him, and then basically just rehired him on the spot, and got him back in the box. And, so he sort of met the diva requirements. And I think as a director, producer, that there's a lot more you have to deal with than people realize. Even just doing a couple of shows, TV shows that I did, or not TV shows, YouTube series shows, whatever. I was out in LA doing like real filming stuff. It's there's a lot that's going on all at one time. And, the actors, if you hire them for 1 till 3 and you don't get your shots by 3, you can't shoot at 4 o'clock. That's not how it works. Right. You got to go back through and do a whole new contract, and it's insanity. But anyway, that's my fun Tim Rose, Kowakian monkey story. All right, let's right. The more you know. I'm sure he loves that I shared that story too. Urethra wants to know what your store is called, Charlie. She said she's seen mine.
Yeah, we see yours. Mine is up there on my name badge too. JC3 Cards and Collectibles on eBay.
JC3.
That's right. And JC3 represents everybody in my family, my wife Jenny, myself, and my boys Creed and Caleb.
They are not J's.
They are not. They are.
They're the C's.
We got the 3 C's in the house.
Well, what the hell? What about Stuart?
Stuart wasn't part of the family yet.
Well, here, this is what you could do. JC3S. Right? So JC3 and the S of Stuart.
I'll think about that.
Problem solved. You're welcome. DJ Enterp has joined us. Thanks for joining us tonight. Happy to have you. He says, evening. He says, gentlemen. Clearly, he doesn't know us very well.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten to know us well enough yet.
He must have got on here after, either before or after you showed the card.
I was just gonna say, especially after I showed that card earlier.
So he must have been on here earlier because he was done here after and he saw the card. Or he didn't join till after. I don't know. Whatever. He didn't see what was going on. So my theory behind this. Logical Collectibles has joined us. I think it's been a few episodes since you've been here. So happy to have you back. Finally, I'm able to catch another one of these. Well, like I said, we're happy to have you. Just a quick reminder, since this sort of popped up. We are on every Wednesday, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. So
Wednesday.
We're actually on it like 8:05.
Well, yeah.
Oops. He wants to know how, I'm assuming this person wants to know, how have things been? I got out of the nursing home a month ago. Shop is hectic, busy, been slacking on YouTube. Man, when you got big changes like that, that's tough. I went through one not that long ago myself, and yeah, you have to sort of get settled back in and make yourself a new schedule and try to fit everything in. And there's other things that are more important than our show. I know it's hard to believe. It's really hard for me to believe, but what does Stuart think of that? Does he think our show is more important? I mean,
first of all, let me say I remember talking with Logical Collectibles, and they were in the nursing home rehabbing an injury because that was the closest facility. Yep. So I want to say I hope that rehab is going well and everything's going the right way. Stuart would also like to say
He's a man of few words, but the few words he has are very impactful.
They're heartfelt.
Very impactful. Okay, enough drama. I've been watching like 80s extreme sports movies, so like a guy going up and down a ramp, because that's as
Yeah.
extreme as it got back then. So I've been watching like grinding, thrashing. There's this really bad Australian one where it's these two BMX bike riders, and they end up finding these two-way radios of these robbers, and then the robbers are chasing them, and they're doing all these bike tricks to get away. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Do you sometimes throw on Rad in the background too?
Actually, okay, Rad is actually a good movie.
It is?
That is a cult classic. There is actual real quality bike stuff on there. As a former BMX guy, I tinkered with some of that stuff as a kid. Thrashing is interesting. Like the movie's terrible, but I hadn't seen it in a super long time. But Josh Brolin was a hell of a skateboarder. A lot of those scenes, he's doing all his own stuff. So
Really?
I mean, there's lots of scenes where he's not too, but
Sure.
But just some of the normal kind of, going goofy footed, where you take the board and you switch foot.
Yep.
He did a little bit of, some of the simpler jumps and things like that, and that's pretty good. Although everybody skateboarded then, so maybe it wasn't that big a deal.
I did not. Never even tried it.
It was funny though, because they get, and it's this guy and this guy is like the other skateboard champion. He's mean to him, and that plain old. And he likes his sister, so he hates him, and But anyway, there's this part where they have to. Oh yeah, well, we'll see you in the contest and see what you can do on the ramp. Blah blah blah. So anyway, the announcer's like, "Oh, we'll have to see who can beat a Mick Twist," and I'm like, dude, that's like not even a drop-in trick anymore.
Right.
If you can't do a McTwist, you're not even getting on the tour,
A lot.
Yeah, it's like you have to do like triple backflips and
If there's not a 7 in front of it, don't even bother.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys do these ramps that are like half a mile in the air and stuff. I don't know. It's insane. We're a little behind here, of course, but Logical says customer service is key to any business. I get a ton of customers who stop in my shop, complain about stuff. Excuse me. Other LCSs do, and it's mind-boggling how bad customer service can be. Yeah, and it's certainly not just card shops. It's just about everywhere. I think we just expect to not get good service pretty much anywhere you go.
It's almost like a game I play. When something's not right in the store, like I take a moment and I try to lead them to like try and help the situation and just kind of pause everything and see if they're gonna think about anything. And 9 times out of 10 these days, it's just nope, can't help you.
Most of the time, I just try to avoid it like the plague. I go to wherever it's got a self-checkout. I order online whenever possible. I do all those things because I just don't feel like... I feel like I'd be wasting my time and effort and frustration by trying to get somebody else to give me good service.
You often are, but I still try it sometimes. Especially if it's younger.
Sometimes you don't have a choice. It depends on what you're doing, But
yeah. Like younger kids working and stuff, I always look at it as an opportunity to try and teach them about customer service.
Right.
But often I still leave disappointed.
And that's what's great about card shows. It's a great way to show kids, they don't, it's not a real job. They don't have to have workers, it's there's no commitment that way, but they can at least get involved in some transactions and handling customer service and talking to people. And because I don't think kids get much of that anymore. They don't go, even just like little bouts of, Bree had to run tonight to get some Christmas decoration she picked up on Facebook Marketplace. And Luna was home from school, so she's like, "Oh, do you want to go with me?" And Luna's like, "No, I just like to stay home." And I'm like, "What?" When I was a kid, I was home like 20 minutes max. And
Yeah.
that was to take a nap and get back out there, you know.
Sun up to sundown, I'm running, and then I'm
Yeah,
stretching it once the lights come on.
yeah, exactly. Because that was how you played with your friends, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's, it's different. Bill Simus has joined us. Good evening, fellas. Welcome back, Bill. And I did say your
Oh,
name correctly, I believe. You
nailed it.
clarified all that for me last week, so hopefully I got it right still. Take a pride in my customer service as an LCS. Everything you see can be bought online. Need to make a reason for people to come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially as an LCS, especially. Small business, you depend on, you got to have somebody walk in your door. DJ Enterp, I think that's how it's pronounced. But I have a question for you guys. When doing a promotion, what is your average impressions a day? Funny you asked that because I just looked at my impressions this morning and they were up. Let me tell you what my impressions are because I don't exactly remember the number. I just know that they went up. I'm up 9.8% on listing impressions. Page views, I'm up 4.8%. So I've got decent growth right now going there. My listing impressions was 30,800,000.
Yeah, and I'm at 1,272,000 impressions.
So
I do
yeah, a lot.
not promote everything though.
Mhm.
Usually I'll list something for the first month or so before I promote it.
And I do not that. I do probably maybe a little bit less than a week in most cases. I'll list
Mhm.
something and I'll let it ride for a few days, unless I know it's like a super hot thing.
Mhm.
I might not do something with it, or I'm underpricing it, or whatever to get a quick sale. Why pay a promotion? Um, one thing I did, and I don't think I even told you this, Charlie. So I make mistakes too, and I like to offer transparency whenever I can. Not everything's hunky dory.
Like
But
being a Cubs fan.
yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'm perfect that way, but I make mistakes in other areas. I at one time I thought the Brewers were cool. So I mean, everybody makes
What? I've
mistakes.
never heard this before.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I mean, I went to my first Major League Baseball game was at Miller Park.
Oh, sure.
So anyway, now I forgot what I was saying.
We
Oh,
were talking
so
about impressions and
I had a
promotion.
customer message me and he wanted like 5 or 6 cars. Didn't want to go through and buy them individually. I said, yeah, no problem. I'll throw them out there as a lot for you, and you could just buy that. And I turned promotions on the lot. I sent him the link and he bought it because the promotion was on there. I had to pay the promotion fee. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no
Well,
reason to promote something you're selling to a specific person. So I lost, like, I don't know. It wasn't a ton. It was a smaller one. It was 8 or 9%, I think, but I was just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. How dumb. So make sure when you're doing your listing, especially if you're copying off another listing, that you know whether or not you're promoting it.
yeah.
Same thing with like charging shipping, not charging shipping, whatever. Make sure that you have all the fields correct to that thing that you're doing. So
And that's actually something I noticed that when you're taking your own listings and selling a
mhm.
similar item and you copy that listing, it will carry over the promotion.
Yes, correct.
Personally, I often don't worry about that. Like
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, I'm going to end up promoting it anyway. So I was
Yep.
like, okay, if I promote some right off the bat, it's okay. But I always still have kind of like 300 listings in my back pocket that I haven't promoted yet because they're relatively fresh yet.
Yeah, and I don't worry about it a whole lot because I sell a ton organically. I've been selling a lot more based on my coupons, which I send to current customers.
Hmm.
And a lot of times those are orders that don't follow promotion because they didn't go through the promoted link or whatever.
Right.
They went directly to the store item. So, and now I have the website, so people can go directly to the website and buy something. Instead of trying to find me on eBay. So I feel like I get a pretty good chunk of non-promoted sales that the promoted sales just sort of help keep everything going,
Yeah.
and get sales on. Yesterday I had a sale of a 2022 base Kirk Cousins card and a 2022 Prestige base Adam Thielen card
Okay.
for $2 a piece. How the hell are you going to sell those cards, without putting some kind of promotion behind it? They're so common. They're not big
Take a while,
sellers.
yeah.
Kirk Cousins isn't even playing for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah, Achilles
Sort of
injury.
Achilles. Sort of like, that's a pretty good sale. I'll pay eBay 30 cents for finding a buyer for me for those, on a $4 sale for those two cards. So it tends to balance out a little bit. Yeah, you give eBay a little bit more money, but they're finding you the buyer, and I don't have to do that work. Advertising, promoting, things like that, it's going to cost you money no matter how you do it. You can go to a per click thing, you can go pay a company to do your promoting, your advertising. They're going to charge you something.
Yeah.
So the one thing I really like about eBay's promotions, there's things I hate about it too, but one thing I really like is I don't pay anything for it unless they get me a sale.
Yep.
So I don't really think of it as a promoted or an advertising cost. I think of it as a commission.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a more accurate term for it. I think actually sellers would feel better about it if that's what it was called.
They're connecting you with a buyer.
Yes, they're finding the buyer. You give them, their 10% piece, for that, whatever. Yes, you still have to pay your final value fee. Yes, but they hosted the item for you. They have the 60 billion people, shopping platform. They process the payments. They do they're doing a good chunk for their 10 to 15% or whatever it comes out to at the end when it's a promoted sale. So
yeah.
And when you do promotions, you price up your cards. It's not that hard. You can put, if it's in the instance of those two cards I just talked about, it was basically 15 cents per card. So instead of charging $1.50 for that card, I asked for $1.99 for that card.
Yeah.
And got the sale. So I ended up with more money than had I tried to sell it not promoted, and I probably wouldn't have found a buyer.
Yeah.
There's less odds I would have found a buyer. So anyway, that's way more than your question was.
That's normally how we roll.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do. But hopefully that helps. He also says he appreciates the insight and the awesome content. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being active in the chat. The whole point of this show is to not listen to me and Charlie necessarily. Well, you have to listen to us, but you get to see the other people in the community, talking about all of the same things all of us are dealing with. I like the opportunity to have everybody participate in the channel.
Yeah.
I like making the videos. I think my videos have gotten much better over time. When we first started this show, I even told you, Charlie, my videos suck. I pretty much always said that. I feel like my content's grown quite a bit in the last few months.
You're very modest with your video empire.
Yeah, my video empire. Subscriptions have grown, viewers have grown, and all those things are reflecting that, I think, as well. So, but a lot of that has to do. My point is not tooting my horn; it's tooting your horns. I think everyone here has had a lot to do with that, including you, Charlie. And you know who else I really have to thank?
Stuart.
He's the goat. He's the goat.
I have to give you props on some of your videos and stuff. I mean, you're very modest about them, but I think you do a good job. In fact, I had some on while I was working on some stuff the other night, and Jenny was sitting down here with me, and I actually turned to Jenny and I said, Adam kind of doesn't talk up his videos a lot, and he's very modest about it. But honestly, I don't think I could do what you do with the videos.
Yeah, I try to script a little bit more, and I try to. I think what's hard is when you start on YouTube, you really don't know what you're doing. Like, I'm not a trained, and I have a little bit of experience in film, and I've done some things that way, but to try to come up with some sort of script, and what is my format going to be, and how do I want to film this, where do I want to stand, there's all these things, and I just kind of dinked around with a bunch of stuff. A few things worked, a couple things didn't. Luna likes the card curmudgeon. I don't know if you've ever seen my card curmudgeon video. She wants me to bring him back out. So for a long time, all the videos were all positive about cards, right? Hey, buy this Zion base and sell it for 6 times your money. You
Yeah.
can't lose. Used car salesman channels and stuff. Then it was like, see, I told you, you're all going to lose your shirts and blah, 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 blah. And so I made a comment to myself one day, like, oh, there's all these card curmudgeons. So I'm like, I got a great idea. So I did this, like, I had this like hat that I wore, and I'm like, I'm the card curmudgeon. And then I'd film myself as me, like, card curmudgeon, we don't need you. There's enough bad, anyway. So Lynn was like, you got to make a card curmudgeon. She loves those videos. Um, but anyway, I think I've really settled in now because my sales day videos were very popular.
Yeah.
I think because it was transparent, I kind of showed what was actually happening. But they weren't really a good enough content in themselves, and I was doing them every day, and I was just kind of
Yeah.
um, time consuming too, to do that every day. And so I decided that, you know what, I'm going to put some sales. I'm going to have a video that has like some quality content, some actual value in it, and I'm going to throw some sales in there and maybe relate the sale to like what the topic is or something like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's been good. I think that I'm having a better success with it that
You
way.
know, I,
I'd love to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So tell your friends.
I read something the other day that I think is very true, and it was like, what did it say? The first time you sang a song, it was awful. The first
Yeah,
time you played guitar, it was awful. The first time you made a video, it was awful.
yeah,
But the thing is, everything's awful when you start, but you keep at it and you get better. I mean, I'll have to go back and watch our first live episode
yeah,
sometime and
yeah.
see how awful I was on that one.
I was thinking
Probably
about
haven't
that.
improved much.
I was thinking about that this morning when I was trying to come up with topics for today because we always try to throw a couple in, just to
Yeah,
have an outline, right? Some sort of goal. And then I was like, we don't really need any because we kind of go in and do our like, hey, how's it going? Um, Tim Rose hates, Harrison Ford, like, right? We get into that, and then the chat just sort of, leads us in certain directions, and that
yeah,
I don't know. I like a little bit of free form.
yeah,
There's so much when you make like a video just by yourself. There's so much structure to it that I like this. It's just a chance, to kind of go wherever.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to pull this one up. Logical Collectible says, I used to hate self checkout, then I realized it's easier and quicker than most manned registers. Bingo. Now, I see comments from a lot of people saying, like, oh, they always check my receipt when I've never had that experience once here. And maybe it's where I live. I don't know. But I've used self checkouts forever.
Yeah.
Shopko, I think, was like the first place here that had them. And never once had somebody stop me for my receipt. The only time that happens is Costco.
Yeah.
Costco is, and that's not even a self checkout. They just want to. They claim it's not to make sure you aren't stealing something. It's to make sure you got everything you paid for.
Sure.
Well, they do have some items that are on the shelf. So, like, if you bought gift cards or something like that, they go into the back and get them. If you buy certain electronics, it's that big cardboard thing you bring up there and pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take the cardboard thing in the back, if you bought the Xbox or whatever. But I always thought that was a funny comment, like, oh, we just want to make sure you got everything you paid for. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm sure it's both. I'm sure they do want to make sure you got what you paid for, but
And get you whatever you forgot.
yes. Urethra responds with, I'm a Walmart Plus gal. I love not having a grocery shop except for vegetables. Don't let them pick your produce. Yeah, I have all my grocery delivered too. I had Bree bought a new mattress and we had it delivered today. You know how awesome that is? Because everything comes like rolled up in a box and all the air sucked out of it. That's how everything ships nowadays. It was still heavy. It's a huge box and it's still heavy and everything, but man, we didn't have to go there. We didn't have to pick one out. I didn't have to throw it in a truck and bring it home. And just showed up on my doorstep. We simply had to carry it upstairs. We'll take the other one out in the morning. I got a dump run tomorrow, so perfect timing. Lay the other one out, let it poof for a whole day so that we can actually sleep on the thing. Done. done. And then all I have is a little bit of cardboard to deal with. So,
Yeah.
delivery, man, it is oof, worth everything. And you can still get most things delivered for free,
Yep, that's true.
Oh boy. Urethra says she made a playlist of all my old What Sold videos. I listen to it while I list because I'm not fully paying attention. I see new stuff every time. That's pretty awesome. Thank you so much. And I I would make those every day, and I wouldn't get very many views on them. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should stop making these. And then I would hear from somebody like this that would say, I love your What Sold videos,
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'll keep doing them. So I never really wanted to totally turn them off because I think it's cool to see what's sold
Yeah.
personally. And I sell some weird crap, so that kind of makes it fun too. Um, but I think it's good to sort of give other sellers an idea of, oh, hey, I hadn't thought of that, maybe that's something I could sell, or oh, even a buyer, oh geez, that's something that I would like for my collection. um but yeah, so I wanted to make sure I kept incorporating that. I just didn't want that to be like the soul of the video.
Right.
Didn't have enough viewers for it to be worth doing it on its own. Hey guys, this is Joseph Zacola has joined us. I think this is Joseph's first time here. I don't recall this name.
I think so.
So welcome. If you are returning, I apologize. Hey guys, love the show. What is your time frame before you relist a card if a buyer hasn't paid? We've touched on this a little bit before. I know, Charlie, this was something you were kind of struggling with early on, and I simply came back and said, I don't know, I let eBay take care of it.
Right. Right.
And then you were like, I kind of like that idea.
That's word for word the advice he gave me.
Word for word. So I'll digress here and tell you my actual process. So I sell something, doesn't get paid for a day. I give everybody a full day, to pay for it. If they contact me and they're like, they bought it on Tuesday and they're like, dude, I get paid Friday. Is that okay? I just had one today. I sold a Ray Nitschke rookie card on Monday, and the person said they couldn't pay until today. And I said, sure, no problem. Paid right away today. So no biggie. But what I do is I give them the full day, and then that following day when I'm in doing my work in the morning, I send all my invoices. So I send them another invoice just saying, hey, you bought this card, you need to pay for it. Believe it or not, some people think that when they bought it, they'd already paid for it.
Yeah.
So they might be like, well, why isn't this card shipped? Well, you actually never paid for it. So unless you're really following your eBay, if you're not that involved with it, it could be easy to skip something you bought and didn't pay for it. Especially if it was an auction. You could win an auction and not know too. Anyway, so I do that, and then I'll send basically an invoice every day or two, however I feel my flow is working. And then, yeah, when it gets to, I think it's 4 days, then eBay automatically will cancel it. They'll send me an email saying, hey, we canceled this, person didn't pay, we relisted it for you, or we couldn't relist it for you. Like if it was a multiple quantity item, they don't relist it. But then that tells me what I need to do. I go back into that item, I add one to the quantity. If it got relisted, great, I don't have to do anything, and you just move on. Now, that being said, I don't have very many that never get paid for. I have maybe 2 a week or something, which maybe sounds like a lot, but you have to think of it in volume. I sell like 2,500 cards a month, so
Yeah.
to have 6 or 8 or even a dozen that don't end up actually getting paid for would not be a big percentage by any measure. So
Yeah.
and things happen. Maybe somebody couldn't pay for it anymore. Maybe they bought it somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I let eBay handle it, and then I just wait for their email and I take it from there.
Yeah, and I took your advice, much more hands off and less anxious about it these days. In fact, I've got one right now. I'm looking at it. I sold it on the 12th, and it hasn't been paid yet. And it's a lower end card, like no big deal. I think it's more than 4 days though, before it would get canceled automatically. Adam, we'd have to check on that. I know that at 3-4 days they send out a reminder to the buyer.
Okay, maybe
And
that's
then
it.
we
Yeah.
get an email saying, hey, now you can cancel it with no ramifications to you if you choose to.
Okay,
But I don't
that could
think
be
they
it.
automatically cancel it. You
Yeah,
get
I mean,
still control.
Other than sending my own invoices to try to get the payment,
Right.
I don't have nothing to do with the cancellation. I let it go until it happens.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
like
it could
this
be
one, I'll
7 days, could be 10 days. I really don't know.
I'll probably send a reminder tomorrow. And I do word it that way. I don't say, hey, you haven't paid yet. Where's the money? What I typically have is the same message I send all the time. Hey, thanks for your purchase. I pulled your card and it is ready to ship out the door as soon as I receive payment.
Hmm.
And usually I would say the majority of the time, the next day, by the next day, it's paid for. To your point,
Yeah,
Adam, I think sometimes people just forget, like if they make a lot of purchases out there, maybe one gets overlooked or something like that. Um, but I've had maybe two canceled in my, what is it, 7 months now that I've been doing this. So
yeah, it's a very small percentage. It does impact the buyer. They don't want to get a bunch of non-paids. It restricts things that they can bid and buy. So,
yeah.
I don't really. It's not something that even shows up in my mind every day. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta make sure all these things get paid for. Um, Most of the time, it happens. So,
Now, the other thing too we talked about this week is, and this was carryover from last week's live as well. Um, we were talking about how can you do a multi invoice on
mhm.
purchases so you're not getting feed to death and five cards going to the same buyer on the same day. Um, in order to do that, I believe I had to turn off that buyers couldn't make an offer without having a payment form on file.
Correct. Yes.
So
Yep.
that may lead, and they actually give you that disclaimer, hey, turning this off may lead to more unpaid,
Correct.
purchases and offers.
Yep.
But I don't think
Which is true. It can,
yeah,
but it doesn't.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't
Um,
think it's a noticeable,
not
negative
enough
impact.
that. Yeah, not enough that I think it's worth losing 30 cents on each card.
Yeah.
Especially with what we sell.
So
So
Joseph's, specific question was what's the time frame? For me, it's probably a week.
yeah,
I do want to wait through a weekend at least, like Adam said. Maybe they're waiting until payday to, pay for a bunch of cards that they made offers on or made bids on and won. So
I don't wait a week. I give them maybe 2 days, and then.
really,
But you send them a message and like personalize it. I don't do any of that. I just go in and I hit the send invoice button and I hit send. So
yeah,
basically, it just sends them a bill. And I keep it that simple. It takes me less than 2 minutes each morning to do that, and I sell, like I said, thousands of cards. Um, that's how I've done it. It's been successful. A lot of times I send those invoices out in the morning, and most of them will get paid within an hour. The reason I like sending the invoice is because they can literally click on that and just hit the paid button.
yeah. And I send the
Versus if they
invoice as
read a message,
well. It just has a
oh, you just
section
add a
for your
message.
free
Yeah,
form message on it. Yeah,
yeah. I don't do that. I just send it. So hit send. But there's no right or wrong. You just have
right.
to figure out, what your path is for that. Okay, that's a little terrifying. Then there are parts when I remember exactly what you're about to say. So yeah, you must have watched some of them several times. Maybe I should start making those again every day. If people are going to watch them like 10 times, that might have some value. We'll see.
Yeah,
Average Dave's Cards has joined us. Welcome. He says he absolutely loved the Sales Days videos. So see, and that's, like I said, that's the stuff that I would hear. So I definitely will, keep putting sales in with the videos. It's just tough to do it every day, and I got to go in and chop the piece out of each eBay sale and things like that. And I was doing literally every card I sold, and now sometimes I have. I mean, you've seen some of my stacks. I have all of a stack like that, and
yeah,
even when I incorporate them in the videos now, I don't show every sale. I just kind of hand pick out some that I think are cool, some that sort of fit with maybe the theme of the video, and I'll show like maybe a dozen or so, just so it doesn't get overwhelming and long and whatnot. But
right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Urethra says, I love your new content too. Oh, she likes my new content, not loves. Just
Yeah,
likes it.
don't overreact there. Come
She's like,
on.
she likes me as a friend. She doesn't. I like your friend zone. I like your new content too, but I also miss the separated sales day videos. I, I can't win. So um, I I just don't get that many views on them. It just doesn't perform that well, and like I said, it's time consuming to make the videos and stuff. So I just don't feel like I'm going to continue. I thought about it. I've actually thought quite a bit the last few days about, you know what? I'm just going to make an old fashioned sales day video today. I didn't, because I actually messaged Charlie. He's my muse sometimes. And I said, dude, I got no ideas for a video this week. Do you have some ideas? And he's like, boom, and just throws like 10 ideas at me. I'm like, why didn't I go to Charlie sooner? Um, I think he secretly gets them from Stuart. But
Yeah.
anyway, anyway, that was one of my ideas. I was like, it's good. I'll just make a sales day video and I'll just show all the cards I sold today. And kind of old school it. So I'll probably throw some of those in there here and there, especially if I have a really interesting sales day. Those might be back a little bit, but there were so many subjects and things I wanted to actually have real content and touch on that, I felt like were more important to put videos out there, and they've gotten much better views.
Yeah.
So you have to go where the masses want to watch. So Sporto20MI, welcome. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's not yo, it's yo, yo, yo. Don't get it twisted. Anyway, yes, yo. We are doing well. We're having a sporty chat here, so thanks for joining us, and hopefully you get in on it. Ran into someone who sent separate offers on 11 different cards yesterday. They were fair offers, so I accepted them, but they all auto paid. Kind of frustrating. I ended up paying 30 cents. That's exactly what we were talking about. I ran into that once. I started doing promotions like early July, right before I went full time, and yeah, it was driving me insane because I was selling a ton of stuff, and just like you said, they were getting paid for right away, which was nice. But
Yeah.
I have so many multiple card sales now. As you get more listings, you get even more of those. And Charlie's right. You have to go turn off the require the auto pay feature, and then it'll let them buy each one, and then you'll have to go in and invoice them. I think they could still go in and pay individually. So you're going to want to try. They could pay for them together, but you're going to want to try to invoice them to make sure it gets paid all together. That's what I do. So
yeah, there's another setting too that you might want to look at. It's something about how many days do you want to allow offers before combining the invoice. I think I have mine set on like 3 days or something like that. Like I could still tack on to an order for 3 days before it locks down.
That's what I have mine set to, is 3 days too. So yep, and that's usually long enough. I have some customers who will order for me like every couple of days.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes where it's like, well, I ship out every day, so I'm like, well, I already sent these, so I'm gonna have to pay 30 cents now for this next pile, and it's just that's just how life is. Let's see, where are we at? To finish this conversation, per transaction, because I didn't have an opportunity to combine the invoice, then I have to go through and refund shipping for combined shipping discounts. We don't charge shipping, so that solves that problem.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, just annoying. Now, when you refunded those shipping discounts, did you keep the 30 cents out of each one then to cover the per paid item purchase? I'd be interested to know that, because that would have been a way you could have sort of collected that 30 cents for paying individually.
I gotta sidetrack us for a second because I just made a sale that makes me smile. So I have a Topps Tech card, an auto Topps Tech Rhys Hoskins card that I bought it, I admired it for a couple of months and just recently listed it, and I got lots of interest, but I kept getting offers that I just wasn't comfortable taking, and it just sold for my asking price. So I love it when you're like, no, this should go for that amount, and there's enough interest, and if you're just patient, it'll go.
And that's part of that experience, and we talk about this a lot too. Like, well, do you look up every car? Do you do this? Do you do that? No, I just kind of know where things should fall and what I can get for something. If I buy like a random lot of vintage of some brand I don't know, that there's exceptions, of course. You can't know
Right.
everything, but and I'm certainly not claiming to know everything. But when you kind of get into your regular what you're buying and selling, you just know what you can get for things. And Charlie's right. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to accept every offer. It's not race to the sales. It's making a profit. So um, you don't have to accept it if you think you can get more. And I've done that too, Charlie. I've had 2 or 3 people offer out to me on a card at one time. It's like, man, I could have bite on any one of these, and then
Yeah.
boom, all of a sudden it's gone, and somebody paid the full price. So
And I did, counter some offers of what I thought, I could accept that, but I kept getting like lowball offers and lowball offers, and I'm like,
mm,
you start questioning. The reason I'm celebrating it in my head right now is you start questioning, like, am I
am
pricing
I
this one
asking
too
too
high?
much? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it sells through for your asking price with no offer, and you're like, right on, man. I do know what I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to be comfortable with too. Well, if this doesn't sell for a while, am I okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because time is money too. If you're like, well, I could take a little bit less and then I've got something else I want to do with that money, I'll take the sale and I can probably get some return off of being able to have the money now and do something else with it. So
Yeah, and we've talked
it's a,
about
it's a
that.
real
Like,
balancing act.
the length of the listing is definitely a factor into working your offers, right?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Although I'll tell you one thing that sort of throws me off with that is doing the end listings and sell similar.
It
Because I'll
resets
look
it,
around and be
right?
like, oh, I just listed this 2 days. I have so many listings that I can't keep track of 32,000
Right.
listings.
Right.
And I'll be like, oh, I just listed this like 2 days ago. I'm like, I don't remember listing that. Oh, yeah, that was one I did like 6 months ago. And now I've
Yeah.
got an offer on it because I relisted it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned this in the last video too about negotiating. I'm like, I kind of have my prices that I want to actually get for the card, and then I price it slightly above that to give me my negotiating room. It, so when I came from the world of stock trading, one of the things I tried to suggest to a lot of people, because hardly anybody does this when they're buying individual stocks, is do have limits, right? So if you
Yep.
buy this share at $10 and you want to get 15 out of it, sell it at 15 or place a
Right.
sale right away at 15. So if it hits 15, boom, you're done. And then your stop loss, right? You want to put, well, I don't want it to go less than 5. If it drops down to 5, I'm out. Okay, well, put a sell in at 5. So that and it sort of creates that disciplines for you. And I kind of have that with my you know price scale for a card,
Yeah.
on offers and things. And then because there's other factors that play into that, right? So let's say
Yep.
they're gonna offer you less than what you really want, but they're gonna buy five copies at once. So now you get one payment, you get one 63-cent shipping fee, one envelope, one chunk of supplies to send out. I'll take a little less then, for a quantity buy. So there's there's too many factors to just be like, this is exactly what I do every single card.
Right.
It is definitely a case by case, card by card.
Agreed.
Yeah, Urethra here suggests that she keeps calling me Adam. I should have never told her my real name.
What would you
um,
like her to call you?
just I don't know, Enigma. Pan,
Edward
Pandora's
Nigma?
No, hold on, I got a good one. You ready? Pandora's Dollar Box.
I think we had a conversation about that being a place in Vegas.
That sounds like that's like rabbit goat hole material right there.
Yeah.
She says I can make a playlist on my channel so that viewers can just see the sales day playlist. You are correct. I do have a couple playlists built on there, but my organizational skills are subpar in basically every area of my life. So it's somewhat organized, but no, I don't have every video thrown in there that I should, and I don't have enough playlists created. So I do have definitely have enough videos released now that's something that I should try to take some time and go back and do. Next time I get a day off, how about that?
Says the guy who works from home for his own business.
Yeah, exactly. By himself. All right, I can make a Stewart playlist full of screaming music videos and good clips. That's not a bad idea.
Little System
I
of a
don't know how many
Down in there.
screaming videos. I was gonna say it's gonna be like a lot of death metal and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that. Non-sports cards seem to be a steady sell lately. Completely agree, Joseph. I spent a lot of my day today listing Pinocchio cards,
Ooh.
Sonic the Hedgehog, WWE Divas. Yes, I consider those non-sport. Bill Nye the Science Guy, some Disney stuff, Pac-Man, and I got all my Garfield listed. Did you know there's a new Garfield movie coming out?
I did hear that. I was a
So I
huge
bought,
Garfield fan.
bought a
So
nice stack of Garfield cards at Madison.
I used to have all the Garfield books that were like rectangular shape and they were about
Mm-hmm.
an inch thick. I had every one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes.
Yep.
Those were the big
I still
comic
have
books
all
for
the
the
anthology
kids.
books of Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, and because they did like graphic novels and stuff, right? Where they put a
Yep.
bunch of strips
Where
together. That
basically
was
they
smart.
take the
That was a good idea.
newspaper runs and put them all into a book. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about non-sport a lot on here, sometimes more than sports. I kind of started doing that a while ago because I really felt like it never got any attention for some reason, and it's such a great. For some reason, like sports card people like just do sports cards, and non-sport people just do not. And I never understood that. So there's good markets for it. Speaking of that, Charlie, next weekend is a really fun show, and I'm going to get video of it because this will be completely unique. Okay. I don't think anybody else has done this on their sports card channels. I'm going to take video at the Collectorabilia show at the Resch Center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to that one. With toys, cards, games, and I bought a bunch of non-sports stuff there last time. And that's going to be my mission. There's sports cards there too, so hopefully I get some good video of that. But I thought it would be fun to show sort of hunting out some non-sports stuff because you never see that. Because there's really not, at least at our shows, there really isn't much non-sport stuff.
Non-sport like
Other
this.
than a little bit here or there.
Precious.
There you go. There you go. He looks like a goat.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, that actually kind of matches up. Like, if Stewart had an alter ego, right? It'd be like, but yeah, that Collectorabilia show caught my eye as well. I still have to check some schedule things with the boss in the house, but I'd like to do that, but I'm not 100% yet.
It's kind of fun. It's Thanksgiving weekend. I'm gonna go with my sister and Bree's gonna go. I don't know if Luna's going or not. I have to clarify that, but it's just kind of some fun thing we do. Half of the area is like Christmas crafts in there because that place is ginormous.
Well, now Jenny's for sure in.
Yeah, so half is like Christmas crafts, and then half is the Collectorabilia show. I went to it last year. The guy who invented the original Rampage game was there, and I have my arcade in my house. So I had him sign like an original Atari poster and stuff. It's awesome. He was also one of the producers on the movie. I really liked the movie actually.
That was like the King Kong,
Yeah, you're the three different giant monsters, and you have to climb the buildings and bash in the windows and eat the food, and you grab the girls and eat them, and you do all this stuff. And yeah, your goal is to smash the entire city. Yeah. Helicopters come by and are shooting at you, and you got to punch the helicopters, and it's really super good time. I have all three of them on one of my arcade machines downstairs. We play it pretty regularly, so it was really psyched to get a nice autograph poster and meet them. I didn't take any video last year because I was a moron. So this year I will have video. Last year there were some Packers doing autographs too. Chester Marcole was there. I think Amon Green was there. There was a couple of Packer players there doing autographs too. So I'm assuming they'll have something like that as well this year.
Okay.
But great show. We had a good time, found some good stuff. I bought some, that was the first box of Pro Set Music cards I bought.
Nice.
I bought a box of Elf packs. No, Elf, is it Elf? No, Gremlins 2.
Okay.
Bought a full box of Gremlins 2. I bought some Harry and the Hendersons, mostly packs, because at that time I wasn't really doing that stuff for resale. I was doing it for my non-sport pack collecting.
Okay.
But I know there were, booths that had like sets of different cards that you could buy, singles, stuff like that. So I think it'll be fun. So hopefully watch for that video. I'll be filming that on that Saturday, and maybe I'll get it out Sunday or Monday. Mondays are tough. Monday is like 10 hours of shipping for
Yeah.
me. So, because I don't ship on the weekends, I still want to have a weekend off, and I'm not required to based on um,
You're handling
my,
it.
yeah, based on my, Seller Plus, whatever, high rated Seller Plus, whatever they call it thing. A lot of words. Um, I just have to ship every business day. So Saturdays and Sundays aren't business days, but
Top Seller Plus.
top rated Seller Plus.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'll have 100 on Friday, 100 on Saturday, 100 on Sunday. I'm talking cards, not necessarily orders, but most orders have more than one card. And I got to pull them all and ship them all. Sometimes on the weekend I'll pull cards just to get some of it done. Cut down on some of that time. But yeah, Monday I just basically don't plan anything anymore at this point. I just ship all day. All right, Sporto says, thanks for the great advice. You're welcome. I don't even know what advice we gave you, but you're right. It's top notch. And don't you forget it.
We were talking about turning off the auto pay so you could invoice multiple cards in an order.
Sounds great. Yes, that is a good idea. Yeah. No, I knew exactly what we were talking about. Of course. But yeah, I'm glad we could help. We struggled with that about a little bit last week because you and I had talked about it. I'm like, you got to go turn it off. And you're like, yeah, how do I do it? I'm like, I don't remember. I did it, a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
And it's not the easiest thing to find either.
It's terrible. eBay is always bad to try to dig stuff, in my opinion. I have a hard time now. I've got like my main dashboard stuff and, my regular links, but some of the weird stuff, yeah.
But, think about that. We're looking for something to reduce the amount of fees we're paying. Of course, it's going to be buried 3 levels.
Yeah, that's very true. And, and I've tried to search it too. I tried to search, like, how do I turn off auto payment on eBay, blah, blah, blah. Just Google, like, every word you can think of that would pair with that, and boom, there's nothing.
Nope.
So it's very weird. Okay, let's get back to some chat. Average Dave's cards. Maybe a sales day for a weekend every once in a while. Also have all the content, but there's just something about a sales day video. Weekends, I really don't want to work weekends. I've tried to kind of make that deal with me, myself, not just myself, my family. One of the reasons I wanted to come and do this was I wanted to spend a lot more time with my daughter and, doing some of the things that need to be done at my house and helping out around here a little bit. And, the weekends is when everybody's here. My wife works Monday through Friday, so I really try not to, but maybe I could do a weekend sales day on a Monday, but that might really extend my Monday shipping hours too. So I will see. I'll try to fit it in somewhere. Really the non-Monday days are the best. Like Tuesday is not quite as busy. Wednesday is not quite as busy. Thursday starts picking up again. Usually Wednesday I'll launch a coupon or I'll do something to sort of kind of get that dead middle of the week moving, and I start getting offers. I'll end more listings and sell similar, whatever it takes to sort of pep it up a little bit. And then right through the weekend it moves. And Saturdays are when my newsletter releases too. So that's nice. That's to drive a few sales too. Okay. So Urethra says she charges shipping, but she has a deal set up for shipping discounts per additional card with the max shipping price. Yeah, I think that's really the only way you could feasibly do it. I just don't charge shipping. I charge what I feel like, I need my profit out of that card. I don't list at the lowest price, so I'm not really worried about, getting the shipping out of it. And then that way, no matter how many cards somebody buys, I never have to worry about the combining.
Right.
You always get a 5-star rating on your shipping costs because you can't be any less than free. Um, and let's say you're charging 87 cents and you can ship it for 63, so you ship it for 63, and now the customer's like, well, the hell, I paid you 87 cents. Where did my 20 cents go? I don't know. I just kind of don't want to deal with it.
Yeah,
But I get it. I get it.
I started out passing through shipping costs, and I don't know. I would say, what was it, 3-4 months in, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to free shipping, and I do feel like it made a difference in my volume of sales.
Do you watch BattleBots at all?
I used to. I don't recently.
Okay, so they're in a tournament right now, and it's like each week they have like a small base of teams that play, and then whoever wins, it's single elimination. Whoever wins that week gets to move into the final round, where it's going to be the 8 teams of the 8 weeks that were the winners are going to fight each other
Okay.
for the golden nut. Well, anyway, we always make fun of this BattleBot that's named Free Shipping because it was just a terrible, terrible bot. It had like these little like forklift things on the front, and
Yeah.
a bot would just come out and just wham, and the whole thing would go flying and break apart. And
Yeah.
it was great. We call them trash bots. There's certain bots that are trash
Yeah.
bots. So anyway, they've worked on it and have improved the bot, and it's no longer looks like a forklift. It's more like a regular robot with a weapon and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this last week's tournament, it was in it and it won the tournament.
Really?
You're like, what? Won a spot, I should say, in the final. Because
Sure.
it's still
Okay.
in like the 8 weeks. But anyway, so now when anybody says free shipping, it makes me think of Trash Bot. And yeah. Stick around, everybody. I got tons of stories that you'll never want to hear.
And
Just
once
like
you
that.
like rabbit goat holes.
Rabbit goat holes, yeah. Let's see. To follow up on your response, yes, I held back the 30 cents too. Basically, the additional per card combined shipping covers supplies plus that transfer transaction cost. It was not intentional, but it works out. Okay, well that's good. At least you didn't, have to eat the other 30 cents, I guess. I mean, technically you kind of should because it's not the customer's fault either. That you required auto payment, but I get where you're coming from. And now that you've been through that, now you need to go fix it because if it happens again, now it is your fault, and you shouldn't take the 30 cents from the customer, in my opinion. So good. I'm glad. I'm glad you could at least be made whole there, and then take our advice and go change that for the future. I know you don't open much wax, but have you seen Donruss Women's World Cup blasters? They're pretty loaded and feels like a dollar box type product. I did a little while ago. I haven't seen them in a while. I thought they were kind of overpriced for what was in it. Really, the Women's World Cup, I think really only Team USA are the cards that sell that I saw. I haven't looked real hard, but maybe there's some inserts or something in there that I'm not coming to mind. But no, awesome. If that's something you found that can be a niche and you can make some money on it, awesome. I think that's great.
They do have the Net Marvels inserts, which kind of have that comic hero,
Yeah, the men's cards have those too. Yeah.
Intergalactic, of course, some autos, but yeah, I haven't seen those. But you'll be happy to know, Adam, actually, with your background, I went down some rabbit goat holes on soccer in the past week too. Watched some documentary footage of some soccer superstars. I listed a bunch of soccer, which took me down, what's the difference between Premier League and, Champions League and UEFA? What the heck is UEFA? And, where's this guy playing now? And all of that stuff. And
it's the United European Football Association, UEFA.
Yeah, and by no means am I an expert, nor will I be for a long time, but I started trying to figure out some of that stuff, like who's Jordan Henderson? Who's this
Mhm.
David Beckham guy that I listed?
Ooh,
Harry Kane.
send me all your David Beckhams. I'll take them.
I found this Neymar Jr. guy I listed, and I
Nice.
remembered that name. So
Yep. I just sold Neymar card today.
Cody Gakpo,
Okay.
Benjamin
He's not.
Sesko,
Those aren't big names, no.
Kobe Mainu,
Minnow.
Alejandro Garnacho, and
Yep. Garnacho. Yep.
then what happened is
He's a semi-star.
because I started doing some research. Now in my news feed, I'm getting all these soccer feed stories, like
Mm-hmm.
People buying the contracts from other clubs, and
Mm-hmm.
people fighting. Like the Daily Sun likes to add a little drama to every Manchester story.
Yeah, once the transfer window opens, it's insane. It's worse than like free agency in our sports.
Yeah,
In the States. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah, soccer's really really grown even in the United States in the last few years. So I think that is the market with the most potential.
I would agree.
Clearly, it has the biggest viewing audience. If you can get, you need two things to really happen here. You need the U.S. people to buy into soccer more. And you need the Europeans to buy into sports cards more because they are into the soccer, but they don't buy a lot of the cards. So, a couple of those things have, both those things happen. It's going to be quite a rise for sure.
Like this guy, I never heard of Mohamed Salah.
I didn't click
Nope.
on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mohamed Salah. Like I had no idea when I listed him, and then all of a sudden I started seeing
You mean this guy?
like he was a
And
prolific goal
this guy?
scorer. Yeah.
And this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, here, look at that. There's Neymar. How about that?
I had no idea who any of these guys were until I started branching off into soccer.
Remember this name, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Ooh, okay.
He's a stud. You got Kevin De Bruyne for my Man City team. Greatest team ever assembled. Yeah, there's a pretty good list of big name soccer guys that you can make a good amount of money on. So
I'm trying to learn it.
Yeah, great market. Can of Mackerel has joined us. Thanks for joining us. Holy mackerel. First time catching y'all live. Been enjoying the content for a few weeks now. Awesome. I'm assuming you mean you watched other live videos, so you got an idea of how insane we are, and you decided to tune in and see it for yourself and make sure it was real deal, and it is. We're all real, including Stuart. It never gets old. Like we've been doing this for like 6 months. You'd be like, I don't want to hear that stupid screaming goat, but I do. Dude, did you see that ornament I sent you?
Ornament you sent me.
I sent you a link for an ornament. It's a screaming goat ornament. You hang it on your tree, and then once you pull it, it screams like every 5 minutes or something like that.
Yep, that was awesome.
Awesome.
I showed it to Jenny, and she didn't seem as amused.
Well, then you have to get it.
I know, right?
Now you don't have a choice. You're gonna have to use it until she gets amused. Your kids will like it.
I was just gonna say before when you said Stuart never gets old, and I was like, I think my wife would beg to differ because there are days when he speaks a lot in this house, and I get the eyes.
Does he talk when he's not on the show? I thought he was like
sometimes, yeah.
Oh. I thought he was like action only. I don't know.
And he's very persistent sometimes. Like he'll keep, until someone listens, he'll just keep saying it.
Well, everybody wants to be heard, Charlie.
Right.
So, Joseph says, funny as I am, an ex-stockbroker and think the same way. Yeah, I think, the education and the training just sort of puts that into you, and you have it for your whole life. I'm assuming he's referring to my talk before about make your buys and sells ahead of time so that you keep your discipline. I was complaining. She called me Adam. Now she's going to call me Cooter, and we'll address you as that instead. You can call me Cooter. Well, I'll take it. Cooter down the rabbit goat hole. Let's see. Seller hub, shortcuts, block bidders, scroll down to buyer payment requirements, uncheck the 2 boxes, submit. Dude, thank you so much. We've been trying to
She
put
makes
in
it
it,
sound so simple.
but even that doesn't make sense.
Right. It's
Shortcuts,
not
block
intuitive. That's why we
bidders,
struggled with it.
buyer payment requirements, uncheck the buyer. Yeah, yeah, that is exactly how you do it. Yes, correct. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Bargain Boxer has joined us. Welcome back. You guys going to Chicago this weekend? We are not. We talked about this earlier. We have a show about a half hour south of our area. We're gonna hit that one this weekend. Um, I thought about going out to that Chicago one. It's just this time of year is so tough. We've got Thanksgiving stuff coming up. We do a lot of decorating at my house, and um, so yeah, this I could get to a show this weekend, but I don't think I could be gone, for 2, 3 days down to Chicago. So maybe the next one. I think the national tickets go on sale in December. So that's something that we probably want to get on right away. The VIPs do sell out now, so we'll be booking for that. That's our big summer trip will be Cleveland. So I'm not going to go to the Chicago one in the summer, I don't think either. Um, but we'll be at the National. So, and I know you and I met at the National, so I'm assuming you'll be there again as well. Oh boy, I can't even think of this. It's going to be a very special episode when Stuart's batteries die. You
What
know,
batteries?
he runs on sheer will. That's it. That's all he needs. Will and some Pez once in a while. We give him some
Yes,
Pez.
some Pez.
Yeah, Pez is power pellets.
Yep.
So, Flipping Sports Guy has joined us. Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining us again. Glad to have you back.
FSG.
Hey Todd, well, Euretha says hi as well. He watched Flipping Sports Guy today. Bargain Boxer did. Awesome. I know I've watched your channel, Flipping Sports Guy, but I can't for the life of me picture who you are. I have to go back and watch some more. It's usually, I'm kind of like you guys. I watch a lot of it in the background and that kind of thing. So, but I do recall like, oh, I've watched your videos and I like them. So, all right. See you there. BB should be there Friday. Oh, MD Sports is going to the Chicago show. So awesome. Hope you guys have a great time. If you find some awesome non-sport 10-cent boxes, buy them up and I'll pay you for them. Let's see. Nice. I'll see you in Cleveland. It's 50 minutes for why I am in Canton. So as it gets closer, obviously we're a ways out, not setting any of those plans yet. But I thought about maybe we would have a get together for a drink
Yeah.
one night there, and it's just say,
Happy
hey,
hour meeting.
yeah, maybe our normal Wednesday live night, because Wednesday's the first day of the show. We do like a happy hour. It's not quite as busy on Wednesday. Go down to the bar. Anybody there who likes the show, watches it, participates in chat. Heck, anybody, welcome to join us. And maybe we'll film a little bit and maybe do a live, kind of thing. Just have some fun with it. And we can all hang in Cleveland for an evening. Bargain Boxer says they'll be at the next 3 nationals. Looking forward to seeing Charlie and Stuart at the national. Stuart was at the last national too, but yes, they will definitely be there. Yeah, we look forward to digging boxes with all of you. Bring your ibuprofen. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
Bring your comfortable shoes, ibuprofen. If you're into some of the other stuff, bring that too. And then don't eat at the con. Those are like the things. It's not quite as easy to work with the Cleveland show. You're not staying right there. You got to leave every time you go do something. But
and don't forget your training regimen going up to there. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, train hard. And then we look forward to those training montage videos, a couple weeks before the national.
Lots of stair climbing. push-ups, back bends, take some 5-row boxes and kind of do some of this. And yeah,
Load up your backpack. You need a 20-pound rucksack on your back.
It's a lot. By the end of that weekend, man, I am toast. And then Monday hits, and I got to ship for like 2 days straight. So it's good times. Haha Boxer, I don't know why that guy's a bum. I hope he's talking about Stuart, not you or I.
No, that's a little self-depreciating humor there, I believe.
Yeah, to himself. Why would you watch that guy? I get it, Charlie.
Well, I trust
Sarcasm.
you well. I just help you get there sometimes to make sure.
You do, you're much more on target than I am. I would agree with that. 254 days until the national. That's too many days for me to even care about right now. Bring cash? Yes, I do. 99% of my buys in cash. Don't eat there. Food at the Expeteria is great. No complaints here. I didn't say that the food wasn't any good, but on the busy days it can be tough to get in and get anything, and it is kind of expensive. So that was what I meant about don't eat at the con if you don't have to. I always try to. One of the things I really like about the Chicago location is I stay at the Hyatt and they have this amazing buffet in the morning, and so I go. It's $25, which sounds expensive, but it's also not expensive in a way because I just load up there and that's my whole day meal. I'll throw a couple of I like the hydration packets for the water bottles. Those work really good throughout the day. So I'll do that, take a water bottle or two. Huh?
What is it, liquid IV or something like that?
It's something like that. It's a powder, but yeah, you put it in the water and it adds aeration to it, if you will, so you get a little bit more
extra electrolytes.
Yeah, some hydrate. They call it hydrating, but anyway, I'll do that. I'll throw like a couple trail mix packs in my bag or something like that, in case I need a quickie snack, and then I'm good. And then dinner, you can have in your room or whatever too. So
you will see me with a big bag of beef jerky that fuels you through the whole day. Nice slow burn.
Snap into it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the national it's just a really long day of bending over and digging through boxes and carrying cardboard around, and so it's more intense than you'd think it is. And there's so much to look at, so much to buy. Competition. There's a lot of buyers, and so it's cool. I can't wait. Can't wait for the next one. If anything I remember from you, it's that the Hyatt buffet and the deep dish pizza are your national. Yes. So that's the other in Chicago, right? And I didn't bring up the pizza because obviously that's not going to be a Cleveland thing. But yes, the first night I'm in Chicago, I buy a deep dish Giordano's because that is by far the best pizza in Chicago. I buy that pizza. I have a cooler with ice in my room, and because you can only eat like one piece, so you get 8 slices. So you buy one pizza and then you just have that for dinner every single night because it's so good. You can do it. It's just one piece each night. Doesn't take up a ton of room, and for like $30, you can eat for the entire week for dinner. And then you just have your breakfast buffet or whatever in the morning. So MD says, damn, $12 chicken tender basket is expensive, but 2-hour-old hash browns and overdone bacon for $25 is good. No, it's not like that. It's a constant serve and stuff. And I'm an early riser, so I get down there when it's nice and fresh. And the nice thing about the buffet is you can eat as much as you want. So you get a good load. You get real filled up, and then you're good. But yeah, if the chicken tender basket there, I guess, is $12, I guess that's not terrible. But if that doesn't come with a side, it doesn't come with a drink. I mean, you're probably getting closer to that $25 anyway by the time you're done.
Yeah.
And I don't like to take a lot of my time during the day at the con to sit and eat. I'd rather keep moving, while I'm in between tables or whatever. I'll take my little trail mix and I'll pop some of that, and I guess maybe I'm there for a little different purpose. I need to get inventory, so I dig and I buy and I dig and I buy. um, Hopefully at Cleveland they will have air conditioning. That would be a pleasant surprise versus where we were at this year, but we'll see what happens. I've been Marion Graham Jr. joined us. Welcome. I've been selling on eBay for 2 months. Do you promote your low-end cards? If so, what percent is eBay suggesting? Oh, eBay is suggesting 13% for my listings, and it seems like a lot. Well, you have to think about what 13% means on the card that you're selling. So if you're selling a card for $1, you're giving them 13 cents. If you promote it at 10%, which definitely wouldn't give you the edge because that's not the suggested amount, so you're less than what other people are promoting it at, then you're promoting it at 10%, you're giving them 10 cents. So is it worth it for you to give them 3 cents more to promote it at the most competitive rate? That's what you have to decide. And I can't decide that for you. I promote at the dynamic rate, and I just leave it at that.
Same here.
So
There's also, you have to look at the long game and your overall sales as well. So you may have a few of those very low end cards that promotion maybe cost you a couple extra pennies, but at the same time, same day you sold, a double digit card where that promotion got it sold and made you an extra $10 on it or something,
And you have to remember, if you're selling low end cards, it's a quantity game.
Yeah.
You have to. Do you want to go out there and try to find a buyer for every one of those cards yourself, or do you want to basically pay someone to make sure that you get those sales so that you keep that quantity? That's something that I consider. So, I mean, if you're selling, let's say you sell $200 worth of cards in a day, the 3% amount is $6, right? So it cost you $6 of that $200 to get those sales, and you wouldn't have gotten anywhere near that $200 in most cases without having the correct promoted rate. Now, if you think that's too much and you don't think eBay is worth it, and you can get the sale without it, by all means, don't pay 13%. I wouldn't. You don't want to pay any more than you have to. If you feel like you can get it done for 10, then set it at 10. I know a lot of sellers who refuse to go above 10%. That's fine, then do that. It's up to you. But I don't.
That's how I started off.
I do dynamic because different cards are different suggested rates, and depending on the competition, the set, the player, things like that. Just don't want to. Charlie knows I am lazy. That would take work. I'd have to go through and research all those different, and I'm not going to do that. Set it at dynamic, be done with it. If this one cost me 13, the next one might only cost me 8%. There's some that are less than that. But now let's say you set it at 10, you paid 10%, you could have paid 8. So I don't know. I feel like I just set it at dynamic. It works really well for me and good to go.
Not to mention, just because you promote it doesn't mean you're always going to pay that promoted rate. They've got to click on it in the promotions, right? Like if they click on some other card, but then they go on their own in your store and go get a couple other things, you're not going to pay that promotion rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit earlier too, but I'm at 40% is not promoted. So that's a good point. So now if I sold $200 in cards in a day, really only 100 of that dollars came from promoted. We're going 50-50. So 3% on that is $3. So it cost me $3 to ensure that I get that other $100 in sales, that I need in the day. Just as an example.
Yeah.
But I did see here you said that you're going with the suggested rate most of the time. So yeah, that's basically what we're saying. That's what we do.
Well, let's clarify though, because when I started doing it, I thought there was a suggested rate that I would decide if I wanted to manually put it at that or not. We're
Mhm.
talking dynamic, so it changes every day on its own.
Correct. That's the other thing. You could set it at 10% and that's enough, and now all of a sudden, boom, there's all this other stuff in there, and now you're not competitive anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't do that. I have to have my cards be seen, be promoted. I don't charge the lowest amount. I charge pretty much the highest amount of any of the listings out there. Sometimes even a little bit above that, and I need the sale. So that's how I do it. Now you could say, well, why do the promoted then? Just drop your price and then don't do promoted. And nope, because it's for me, it's worth it to charge the extra, which I'm basically going to end up paying to eBay for finding me a buyer. That's how I look at it. In some cases, not all the time, because I can sell organically too. Uretha just volunteered to do a spreadsheet for all of us. She said, what helped what helped me at first was making a spreadsheet with all the fees. I'd adjust the promoted percentage on my spreadsheet to figure out how low I could go while still making a profit. Try it. And that's great. I'm going to send you the list of my 32,000 listings. And then if you could just have that spreadsheet on my desk by Saturday, that'd be great.
Well, come on now. So, urethra, I started the same way, and it's a matter of scale, right? When I was first starting out, I think I looked at it the same way. I think I interpret you're looking at it is it helped me get the right mindset for where I needed to be for cards and how much of those fees really took up the sale. Now, do I still do that? No. A couple months in, I started to scale up, and I was like, okay, I first of all, I can't keep up with the spreadsheet anymore. But two, now it's kind of become automatic for me to think about what those fees are every time I set a price on a card. So I do agree. I think early on when you're starting, I think it's a good exercise so that you really know what you're getting into.
I don't do any of that. Next.
Well, not anymore.
I just don't see. I don't like, and I'm not condemning what you did. I think it's great, and I wish I had more energy to want to put into something like that. But I think you're doing a lot of work for basically what eBay is just telling you. They're saying if you do this at dynamic, this is going to give you your best shot at getting a sale. Like, I guess we don't want to take eBay's word for it. They're out to get our money and blah blah blah. True, true, true. But they're also don't get paid if you don't sell anything. So I don't know. Yeah, try it. Try going dynamic and see how that works for you. And if you're not able to maintain your profits, then you probably need to change the prices on your cards.
Yeah.
There's a couple different ways to combat that. It doesn't have to be your promotion has to change.
Yep.
So
That was another thing I learned from you, Adam, is don't be the low price leader.
no, you never want to be the bargain basement guy. If anyone has a lot of cards serial numbered less than 100 or less, bring them to the National. I'm a buyer, any sport, any player. I buy in bulk.
I wonder, Bargain Boxer, I do have this nice Johnny Knoxville card out of 50 that you might be interested in. I can't show the rest of it, though.
I want it. I'm buying it. You don't sell that out from under me, man. Christopher has joined us. Welcome, Clifford. Welcome, Christopher. It's the downside to live TV. No editing out your mistakes, right? And selling. Did you see, Charlie, at the beginning? Sidebar. At the beginning of the video, I chose the wrong brand banner intro. I went to the song right away again. I'm like, how did I do that 2 weeks in a row?
Out of consideration for our friendship, I chose not to mention that.
No, I can admit that. I can admit to my mistakes. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funnier more than anything else. Like, I've never done that once, and then 2 weeks in a row I did it. Like, what the hell?
You caught it faster this week, though. I noticed.
I did. Yeah. It was. Well, the thing is once I click it, that's it. I can't do anything about it. I have to wait till it starts, and then I have to choose the other branding and whatever. Anyway, the first world YouTube problems, I guess. I'm selling low-end cards at $1.99 free shipping. Can I adjust the ship price? I used to sell at $1 free shipping. Yeah, I mean, you can change the shipping price on anything, really. It's up to you. But if you're selling, I guess I don't understand what you're saying, because you're selling at $1.99 free shipping. Used to sell at $1 free shipping. Can I adjust the ship price? The price, oh yeah. So, okay, so are you asking me, can you still list it at $1 and then just do 99-cent shipping? Is that what you're asking? So you're essentially selling it at $1.99, but you're not doing it as a free shipping sale? I don't know. I could use some. Do you understand what he's asking?
I'm not 100%. When I first looked at it, I thought, what is? I thought he was trying to get at, what's a minimum feasible price point for your lowest end cards.
Yeah, mine's $1.49 at this point. That's my lowest price. And at that, I generally will have quantity in those cards. It's pretty rare I have somebody buy $1.49 card. So they tend to be more profitable in some ways because you get multiple orders a lot of times. So Joseph has a comment here about the promotions. Promoting different for auctions versus buy it now. I thought you pay promoting for auctions even if they don't sell. I do not promote my auctions at all. Not one bit. And you're correct. So if you have an auction listing, once you list the auction, it'll ask you, you can promote it right now for $1.99 or $2.49 or whatever the price is. If you say yes, you agree to that, they literally charge you right then and there before the auction has even done anything. So yes, I do not promote my auctions. Most of my auctions are just to sell my bulk inventory that I don't plan to get anything extra out of, or I'm selling other household items, books, toys, whatever.
Oh, books. Then you can use media mail. Do we need to call up that conversation again?
You know what's funny? I've been listening. I sold a bunch of the action figures. I've been shipping them the past couple days, and I'll have one action figure. Like, let's say it's two different figures, but they're like from the same set, right? So they should be like pretty much the same weight, same packaging, all that. But I'll have one where it's like cheaper to go postal, and then another one where it's cheaper to go UPS, even though they're the same weight. It's really interesting how it's obviously based on location. I would assume at that point.
That's usually a big piece.
Where it's being delivered, but yeah,
density
so it's like
to a location for their operational model.
Yeah, logistics costs, I assume. And
but anyway, I just totally sounded like a logistics nerd talking about density on a lane.
If the goat fits. Let's see. They pay for promo. Yes. So we answered the auction promotion thing. To break even on a card without a store, assuming a 10% tax rate, the lowest you can charge for a card is $1.10. Not suggesting it for high volume cooter, but spreadsheets are great for new. No, I like I said, I wish I was into more of that and I did more of it. I generally I spend most of my day evaluating my time. If that sounds goofy, I don't know. So I go, well, should I list these? Would that be more worth my time? Or should I do this organization, which will save me time when I go to pull cards? Should I do, and then you obviously have your real life stuff you got to fit all in there too. So, I don't charge anywhere near the $1.10 on any card, so I don't worry about it. I just charge dynamic. $1.49 is minimum card price. I know I'll profit on any card at that price. So, because I wouldn't list a card at $1.49 if I paid $1 for it. That would be a 5 or 10 cent card max that was out of my pocket for it. It's pretty much all profit. Breaking even doesn't consider cost of envelope, label, top loader, card itself. Of course, most sellers don't go below $1.50. For any new sellers curious. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, if you kind of sit at that $1.50 mark, you should be able to. If you're thrifty in your expenses on your other stuff, you should be able to fit some profit in there. And it's slim. We're talking like 20 to 30 cents is your
Yeah.
profit in most cases. So
I don't. Ever since postage went up a couple cents again, I don't think I have any listings as low as $1.50 anymore. I may take an offer on some things at
mhm.
$1.50, but I don't think I have anything in my store listed for less than $1.75. And the majority of my lowest listings are $1.99 or $2, whatever you want to call it.
I would agree with that. Almost everything I list now, but you have to remember I had so much bulk from,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have some cards where I have like 100 copies of it. I'll just leave it at $1.49. A lot of
yeah,
times, like I said, when somebody comes in, they're buying like 5 copies of it or 5 different cards. So
yeah.
if the $1.59 helps me get it done, I'll do that. Um, but yeah, it's not a. I wouldn't want your. I wouldn't suggest your entire selling model goes on $1.50 cards.
No, definitely not.
It's you'd really have to move a lot of stuff. What are some ideas to get bulk deals for cards? I feel like hmm,
Idea number one:
it's getting
offer to
late.
purchase a lot of cards.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was if you watched my most recent video, that's exactly what it was all about, the negotiating process.
Yeah,
So you have to hone some of those skills in order to get the right prices. If you're going to a show and every dealer that you're looking at seems like they have overpriced cards, you're not looking at the right dealers. There should be some dealers there that are going to be more appropriately priced for the current market. They're going to be more willing to do bulk deals, quantity discounts, things like that. Don't spend your time at the tables that you know probably aren't going to be able to get you what you need, to get a deal done. So, and if all the shows in your area are like that, and none of them are selling them for good enough prices that you can do something with it, you need to buy somewhere else. You're
yeah,
wasting your time. You need to buy online lots. You need to look at Facebook Marketplace. You need to maybe go to shows out of town. Um, it's not something you could do as often, but there's a good show 2 hours away that you've heard has really nice cards at good prices.
yeah.
Maybe that's one you just try to hit every few months and just really load up when you get to that show. Um,
I would
yeah.
say, and Adam mentioned this in his video earlier this week as well.
Did you
Um,
watch my video?
I did. Heck yeah, I watched
Holy
some of your
crap!
videos.
Did you really? Some, some. He watches some.
I do have a job too. I can't just sit there watching videos all day, my man.
That sounds
Um,
like an excuse to me.
fair,
I,
fair.
I know. Stuart watches them all.
He watches something. But yeah, Adam mentioned it in his video, and I this is something I really believe in is when you head to a table, try and strike up a conversation, get a feel for the type of dealer that is. A lot of times they'll even offer up, yeah, the prices that are out there are just, the most you'll ever pay, but I'm willing to work through some bulk deals. Once they say that, you got someone you can work with. Um, if you get a guy that, if you ask about prices and he says flatly, all my cards are marked, probably best to walk on, you know?
Yeah, and I've run into that before. I've left
Yeah.
tables and just not bought anything. That's
Yeah.
okay too. You don't have to make a deal everywhere you go. Um, but yeah, Charlie makes a good point. A lot of times when I'm at a table and you start digging, there should be other customers there buying stuff. Listen to those deals and what kind of prices they're getting, and were they able to work with the dealer on stuff. That should try to give you should start to give you an indication before you even make your moves, as to whether or not you could work with that dealer. Also, the more shows you go to and the more times you see the dealers, the more they'll get to know you, and then it makes deals a lot easier. There's been times where I've had dealers that knew I was coming to a show, so they set aside a box of stuff they knew I'd want to buy. Um, so you can get to a point where tell the dealer, hey, I'm buying these 50 cards today. Can you give me a better deal on these? I'll be back to buy another 100 cards next month. Work it out so that it makes it um, have value for the dealer as well as you,
Yeah.
so that they're motivated to want to do it. But yeah, those are, I don't know. it's like anything, you want a better deal, you have to go get it. You have to kind of work for that part a little bit. I don't
Um,
work. I don't work a whole lot on the sales part. I'm pretty lazy with that. I let eBay take the reins and handle a lot of that, and I pay for it to some degree. So on my buying side, I have to go get my deals done. That's where you make your money. So
yeah, it makes
that's
me
what I put all
chuckle.
my focus and time on. Sorry, go ahead.
It makes me chuckle a little bit talking about this because Adam and I will go to some shows together, and normally we kind of split apart so we're not working out of the same box. But occasionally, there's a table big enough with enough selection that Adam will go to one end of the table and I'll go to the other end. And I don't know about you, Adam, but when we're working together at the same table, it does cross my mind sometimes. Like, I hope I hope Adam gets his stack before me so I can hear what kind of deal he works before I go,
Yeah, sure,
make my deal.
sure. Yeah, and and the following week when I do the video and I have a black eye, you know where it came from. But also, you should see the other guy.
Yeah.
So, but stuff happens. These
Yeah.
card shows are a real deal.
It's valuable intel when you listen to somebody else make a deal.
hmm Yeah, for sure. Or don't make a deal. If you
Right.
can't come up with something. So, yeah. Okay, he clarified this for us. He meant $1 and they pay the shipping. Yeah, to me personally, I would rather do the $1.99 free shipping. I don't see a point in charging $1 for the card and then 99 cents to ship it. Shipping is just shipping costs are just an annoying thing to a buyer.
Yeah.
So if you can get a deal done at $1.99 and not add the shipping in, that's the way I would do it, and has worked well for me. You have to try to be as lazy as possible, because the more lazy you are, the more you can get this stuff sold.
Yeah.
And it's a quantity game. You can't spend. If this was a $10,000 card, I'd be like, yeah, you need to spend 3 hours researching this, and you need to buy $1,000 Canon camera, and you need to set the card up like this and take the photo, and then you need to email all your buyer sources and contact Golden to see what kind of auction they're going to have next month. That's a conversation where your sales side is where you're making most of your money. What we're doing when you're selling $1.99 cards, focus on your buying. That's when you're going to make your money. And that's my soapbox for today. What do you think, Charlie?
I think you seem taller when you're on that soapbox. No, I think that's the mantra we've talked about before, and others in the chat have talked about it a lot of times too, is that you make your money when you buy cards, not when you sell.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of know what you're there for. It takes a while to learn the market, the brands, the sellers. One thing that I think I've been learning is you can't necessarily go into everything in a microeconomic view, one card at a time, thinking about it too. You have to think.
Not for this stuff, no.
Right. You have to think about the overall buy, the volume buy. You might add in a couple $2 cards when you got 300 cards also at that table at 10 cents a piece,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to balance all that out. We talked about it. We talked about it earlier. It's the same concept, right? We talked about this Washington Chronicles box earlier. And I said, there's 10 parallel cards in here that I believe I'll get close to paying for the whole box. And then everything else in there is pure profit, right? When you're bundling cards and making that deal, think about it the same way. Are there a couple cards in there that really, return what you're paying for that bundle? And then you've got a stack of cards that are pure profit in there.
Yeah, always try to get a few cards for free, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, these are, this is a $1 box, or let's say a lot of times they'll have a deal on the box, right? It's $1 a card or 50 cards for $30, right? So try to get 56 cards. for 30 bucks. You know, I
Yeah.
always try to play that edge up a little bit. If I can get 6 cards for free that I can sell for $2 to $4 a piece, and you're doing that all the time, that's pretty solid free money. Then you just have to pay eBay a little bit for you to be able to sell it for that $4,
Yeah.
right? That's the catch. But um, I work really hard at card shows. I like to call myself lazy all the time. It's fun, and it's somewhat true. But I know that my work, where my work pays off, where I get my money, is when I'm at the show and I'm buying the cards. So I'll work those boxes hard. I talk to all those dealers. I try to make those. I try to throw in extra cards. I try to, have a personal connection with dealer. You'll see in my videos quite a bit. I'll walk up, hey, dollar box. Granted, I have the channel too. That probably helps a little bit. If you don't have a YouTube channel, maybe you don't have the same exposure. But I don't have a giant YouTube channel by any stretch of the imagination, though. But yeah, that is where you need to put your work in, is when you're buying this, and that goes for going to your LCS to buy it, buying stuff on eBay. In that video I had suggestions on how to make offers on eBay, and um, buying stuff like that awesome vintage box I just got for a super good deal, and I got all the free shipping supplies with it.
Yeah.
You have to try, when you're buying, you have to try to get the extra stuff that pays all the bills. And then all the cards that you sell for the profit is actual profit, because this stuff's all paid for. So I see sellers selling cards for pennies and charging $1.10 for shipping. Yeah, don't be that guy.
No, we hate
That's
that.
my suggestion on that. And then go in and try to buy like 3 cards. Do they charge you $1.10 for each one? Will they combine shipping? Now you got to message them. Will you combine shipping if I buy 3 cards for 3 cents? What do
Yeah.
you think their answer is going to be? No, if they were hoping to make their money on the shipping side, that's a terrible customer service approach. I don't know. I think one time we were talking about like, what's the Ticketmaster. We were talking about
Yeah.
Ticketmaster, right? They advertise, oh, you can go to the show for $50, and then you go to check out the tickets, and it's like $86 per ticket. You're like, what the hell? It said
Yeah.
51. And I get it. The way that industry works is like, okay, well, you have to put the fee on for each one. It has to be disclosed. So they don't put it on the ticket price. But name one person who's satisfied with that experience. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody. Nobody wants to go into a purchase not knowing what something costs.
Yep.
It's just like when I go to tables and they don't put prices on anything. Don't be that dealer either.
Yeah.
You
And
got a
then,
dollar. You got a dollar box. Put $1 on the box. If everything's priced as marked, put a sticker on each card. Like, I don't want to ask you about every single card. It's
right.
annoying.
And then it throws off when you're trying to comp things too, because you'll go in and the comps, like the eBay sales, in certain places it'll just show the actual purchase price, and it'll be like, you'll find a card that you're like, oh, this is a pretty sweet card. I think this is probably worth $5-6 or something like that. And then you look it up and it's 99 cents, but then you go into the actual listing and find out, oh, well, they charge $6 shipping on it.
Right. Right. It's not as good a deal as you thought it was. Because
No,
if it
and it
was that
doesn't
good
get
a deal, somebody
reflected
else
in
would have got it.
the trending.
Right. Right. And actually, it hurts other sellers, because now they sold that card for a penny when it didn't really sell for a penny.
Right.
It sold for $1.11, really, if you're in your example here. So no, I'm not a fan of that. Or you walk up to a dealer and you say, hey, I'm interested in that card. What do you want for it? Oh, let me just look up eBay's last sale. And no, I don't want to do that. Tell me
Yeah.
what you want for it, and if it's worth it to me, I'll buy it. If not, I'll negotiate if I want it. Otherwise, we're done and we move on. You can't waste your time at card shows either. You're only there for so long, and as soon as you don't get to a dollar box and somebody else does, you're probably missing out on stuff. So, yeah, one of those little pet peeve things. I just don't like when I ask on bigger card boxes and dealers say prices are all different. I prefer to go to a table where there's a 50 cent or $1 box. Yeah, exactly. if you're buying stuff bigger than $1, then I don't mind. Like if it's $3, $5, $7 cards, and they just mark each card, that seems reasonable. But yeah, I don't want to. This card's a quarter. This card's 50 cents. Those should be marked, and they should be easy enough for you to dig out. You got your stack of 50-cent cards. You count them up, and you go, oh, I got about $30 here. All right, would you take 20? It should be that simple. And they come back and say 25, or yeah, I'll take 20 or whatever. Great, done. You got your good price. You know exactly what you had with them. You're looking at the cards based on a 50-cent cost. You walked away with some free cards, which is exactly what you have to do. And I make, again, watch the card show videos, and I make those deals, all card show. Charlie does too. So it's definitely something you can do. And it's hard. Every market's a little bit different. We're speaking from our experiences here because that's what we have knowledge on. Maybe if you're in Boston, you're not finding that at shows. And then I'm sorry, but then you can't do your business at shows. Then you have to find another means to source your inventory. But Charlie and I have both agreed months ago that by far our best path has been to buy at shows.
Yeah.
Continues to be. We continue to have success with that. Even months in of, and I was buying a lot of stuff on eBay, like lots every day. Like I had tracker apps going nuts. And now it's like I get bored or I got a few bucks in my PayPal account. I'll go in and I'll be like, hey, see if I want to buy a lot of these. Or
it's more selective for
sure.
sure.
Did we lose you there? I kind of use the online shopping to sort of fill the holes of stuff I don't find at shows. So like vintage lots or non-sport lots, things like that. I had sold a bunch of Sonic the Hedgehog stuff recently, and I wanted some more, so I started looking for lots on eBay because I ain't gonna find them at a Green Bay show. Maybe I will at the Collectorabilia show. If I find a box of Sonic, I'm gonna jump up and down. I tell you. But yeah, so you just kind of have to find whatever your path is to be able to find, the products you're looking for. But I agree with you, Scott. It is nice when it's like, here's my 50-cent box, here's my $1 box, and then stuff over $1, which I don't generally buy much of, is just priced.
Yeah.
So it should be top loaded anyway. It shouldn't be difficult for them to put a price on each one. If you're scared to negotiate, you're in the wrong business. I'm on your side, though. Dealers need to price their shit. It's dealers expect you to negotiate. If you're on the seller side, you should be expecting the buyer to want to negotiate with you, especially if they're buying quantity. If they come up and they've got one $1 card and they're like, "Would you take 90 cents for it?" That might not be worth anybody's time. But $1 a piece, and you got a stack of 50 cards, you should be able to get them for $35, $40.
Yeah.
So yeah, force those dealers to give you a deal. I can see you guys getting competitive, albeit friendly when sourcing. Charlie snatches up a bunch of vintage non-sport sticker inserts just to get your goat. Charlie does, huh?
No.
Oh boy.
No.
Do we want to?
What happens
want to
is
get into this,
Adam
Charlie?
snatches up the Goonies cards.
Those are straight money, baby. 4 sets. Was it 4 sets? 3 sets. 3 sets, I think. Yeah, it was, oh man, $5 a set.
I can't let that happen again.
Pissed. Oh, you didn't let it happen. It happened. I made it happen.
I stopped short.
Cooter Flash turns around and flashes all the history hollow inserts and smirks. Look what I got. I got your George boy right here, or your boy George, I should say. Boy George. Then you shake hands and trade, grab a deep dish pizza, and live happily ever after. She's basically describing our national experience in Chicago. That's basically how 4 days are going to happen. Yes. And I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Scott says he's not afraid to negotiate, but he spends 20 minutes on a box not marked, and he can't negotiate a good price, and it wastes my time. Yes, absolutely. You need to know what the price is going in, so you know what to offer, you know what cards to pick out of there at that price. Um, if everything's marked $1, let's say it's $1 box, right? And you start digging through and you look at this card and you go, well, geez, I could only get like 50 cents for that card. You're not going to pay $1 for it,
Yeah.
right? So you make your money when you buy. You know what else you can do, Charlie, when you buy?
What else can you do?
Lose money.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
bro. We talk about that being your focus, and that's why you need to spend the work and your time and your efforts on your buying. Once you buy them, it's not a big a deal that you list them, and when they sell, you put it in an envelope. It's child's play pretty much after that, especially
Yeah.
if you let eBay do all the work, which in my case, that's the best way I've found to do it. But you have to work on the buy side. Otherwise, everybody would be doing this.
Yeah.
He says that's great advice on the 56 cards. Yeah, 3 cards are the best. There are times when and I've mentioned this, and it's been in my sales day videos too, where I will buy, because especially when I was buying 99% of my stuff online, I'd buy a lot of something online. They'd send me a few free cards with it. I list those free cards. Most people are like, oh, I'll toss these or I'll pass them on to somebody else or whatever. I'm like, no, hell no. If I get an extra buck or two out of these, um, obviously they have to be decent cards that got shipped for free. But if you're buying a lot of Tom Brady's and they throw in a couple freebie, Doug Flutie cards or something like that, hell yeah, I list the Doug Flutie cards. Free cards are great to make money off of. Let's see. MD says he snags a couple cards in the first couple minutes and to feel the dealer out. If the deal isn't good enough, move on. I have never been to a show where I struck out. And since I have been in cards full time, 2 years, I have not left a show with my spending amount not met. I often buy from the same dealers as I've been doing it for a while. That's pretty much our experience too. Yeah. Yeah, and I talk about that a lot in a video where I'll stop at a table, it's a dealer I don't know, I don't know their boxes, grab a handful of cards and I'm going through it. I'm like, yep, don't see anything in this first stack. I'm done and I'm moving on to the next table. You should, when you do this enough, you should get a pretty good gut feeling if there's going to be something in there you can work with. I love those boxes. I just want to kind of cover this again because Charlie and I had this experience when we went to Janesville together, buying from the same dealer. I love those boxes where it's $1 per card, but if you buy like 50 cards, you get them for 40 cents or something, or 60 cents.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be cards worth $1 in there for sure, because otherwise why would you be asking $1 for them? So if I can now get them at 40 cents and now also get a bulk discount above that, get a few free cards tossed in, those boxes are awesome because they're basically giving you a discount up front that you can work off of. So my new price now is not $1 per card. My new price is 40 cents per card. And then I'm picking my cards based on a 40 cent cost. And then I'm making a bulk offer. Do you agree, Charlie? I think we worked those boxes pretty good because they were marked so high.
Right. Absolutely.
It actually helped us. Scott says he's going to go back and watch my prior videos. Awesome. I encourage you to do that. I think I have some decent tidbits in there, some experience. Some people learn by seeing somebody actually do something. So we can talk about this stuff on here every week, but sometimes it's nice to watch a video where you actually see, me walk up and make a deal and pick out cards and do all that. Do the voiceover, kind of tell you what I'm doing, so that you have a little bit more real life experience, I guess, to base, what you do off of. If it helps you, great. If it hurts you, I apologize. I'm not here to hurt anybody. Not even Stuart. All right. Do you guys ever list multiple cards as pick 'em in your stores? Having a hard time trying to figure out how to do this. No. We've talked about this before too, but I don't.
Yeah, I did a couple of listings that way. kept them out there for a good 3 months, and eventually I pulled them down and listed individually. I felt like
Mhm.
it just doesn't get.
The traction.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why. It seems like a great idea because you
Hmm.
use one listing for 20 cards, for example. And if you don't have a store and you're really limited on your listings, then there's really a draw to try it. That's why I did it early on. I did not have a store, so I had a pretty low number of listings every month that I could use, but just did not get the traction on it. I felt like I did it with Jeter cards, and
Hmm.
Jeter cards move pretty good. Um, but when I had a multi pick list listing, they did not move. Ripped them apart into solos, and they're all gone.
I mean, would you say Jeter was the greatest Yankee of all time? Or
Jeter's a horse's ass.
now's her out to hurt people, huh?
It's getting late.
Yes. Right.
No, you know my
Bedtime,
feelings on
bedtime for
Jeter.
Charlie.
He
Yeah,
is
I
a
do. I
great.
do.
He
He
is a
is.
great. He's
Well, you can't deny he's a great. He's got 6
yeah.
world titles. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, he holds a bunch of Yankees records. He played there forever. He was the captain. Hosted
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's legit. Anyway, yeah, to me it sounds like work, and you guys know how much I love work. Outside of the buying, because the buying is where you make money. So I work there. But no, I have 66,000 listings at my fingertips. I don't understand why I would need to put multiples and things, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot to try to work with. So I like each listing out there. Generally, when people are buying a card, they're looking for a specific card. They don't want to pick through your drop down box and then, oh, it's sold out. A lot of times I go to, like, it's non-sport cards that I see it a lot because they just put every card from the set in there or whatever. And it's like, well, I need these 2 cards, which are the hot cards in the set. And I find somebody who's selling them. Great. And I go through the list and boom, those are sold out. Or what annoys me even more is it's a pick list and it says priced from 99 cents to $28.36. And it's like, now I have to go through the list, pick the
Yeah.
card that I was looking at buying, and it says $36. I'm like, no way in hell I'm paying $36. I just, I don't do things as a seller that annoy me as a buyer because I think
Yeah.
that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't like paying shipping. I just want to know what you're going to charge me for the card. Done. Everything else, all the expenses are covered by you. I'm paying for them. I'm not an idiot. I get that. But I don't want anything additional added on there. If I buy that card for $2, I'm going to give you $2 plus tax, sales tax. State tax is that just is what it is. But um, I don't want to pick through lists and try to grab different cards. I just want the card I want. I want to be able to see a good picture of it. I don't like scanned cards, so I don't scan my card. I just don't do the things that I don't like as a buyer. And I feel like there's going to be other people out there like me. I bought a ton of stuff on eBay online. So I have great experience to draw from, good and bad. And, when I started selling full time, especially, I really wanted to make sure that I focused on that and made my customer experience the customer experience I would want. It sounds simple enough, but it's harder to do than you'd think because we think one way as a buyer and we think one way as a seller, right? But you have to kind of put them together and be like, okay, well, great, I'm the seller on this, but if I was the one buying it, what would I want out of this? So, bargain boxer prefers cards not priced. Interesting. Lets me know the person is lazy and I can lowball them. I figure if they are lazy, I won't reward them for being lazy. Well, that's true. There can be opportunity in that too. I think the stuff you're buying is a little different than the stuff we're buying, though. So that might be part of it. But trust me, I find plenty of cards in a 50-cent box that are not priced where they should be. This last show in Appleton in my video, I found a 2nd-year Brady card that I get like $20 for in a 50-cent box. Now, before I made my bulk deal, you know, um, top loaded, so you got supplies out of it. You're like, yeah, you got to really run a bunch of numbers in your head and sort of put it together in that box pretty quickly. So it just takes a lot of time and experience to get really good at it. But you're right. I could see how if they're not going to price anything, they don't really know what it's worth. You can be like, "Hey, I'll give you $2 for this," and they're like, "Okay, sure."
Mm-hmm.
I could see how that could work into a deal for you too. So, I I respect that approach, and if it works for you, awesome. Keep going with it. Pet peeve: receiving cards without top loaders and just a penny sleeve. Yeah, I would never mail a card in just a penny sleeve, but I've had that happen where they take the piece of paper and they fold it over the penny sleeve because that's going to protect it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, something as a seller I do because I, as a buyer, would want it that way, or I should say, I feel most buyers would want it that way, and I've gotten the feedback from it that way. They want the card top loaded, not put into one of these guys. Where are they? They don't really want it in a Ultra Pro because nobody, or Card Saver, most people don't store their cards this way. They store them in top loads.
Unless you're doing a multi-card order.
Correct, because yeah. Let me preface it by shipping costs is all that really matters on the seller side. So yes, when I have to use this, I use this. But a single card, I use these.
Yeah.
Under the eBay standard envelope agreement, you're allowed to use a single top load to send a card for 63 cents. So that's why I do it. I don't want to pay for those top loads if I don't have to, and I generally don't. Once or twice a year, I'll buy a big lot of them when I run low because I ship out so many cards. But for the most part, excuse me, at shows or in lots, whatever, that designer box that I showed you, every single one of those cards was top loaded. I ended up with like 480 top loads out of that buy. I paid $80 for all the cards and the top loads. And that was like $40 worth of top loads alone. So yeah, don't forget about the value in the top loads. And you should leave negative feedback for that seller who shipped it to you in just a penny sleeve. That's not good. Not acceptable. We got to at least have some protection. Let's see. TV bargain box. I definitely like those dealers too, but finding a good table dealer with unpriced inventory is like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, I would say, based on my experience, most dealers who don't have their cards priced is because they're lazy or correct, but they have no intention of giving you a good deal. When you go up and say, I want this card, then they look up what they need to charge for it. That's what I've run into. So I do not like unpriced tables. They want you to do the work for them, is what they want. And you guys know I don't like the work. Come on. Super overrated. Everybody just wants the money and doesn't want to do the work. That's the real goal, isn't it? Do as little as possible for the most amount of money. Tell me I'm wrong. One person in this chat tell me I'm wrong, because I'm not. Anyway, MD agreed to seeing cards as priced. They are all overpriced because they look every card up and don't update their prices. Yeah, that can be true too. But again, I'm a discount box buyer, so I don't really run into that. It's usually they're just like 50 cents. Get them out of here. Great, I'll take them. Coming from the other side of the table, though, pricing cards sucks because prices move all the time. That's why I always offer and let the seller know no hard feelings after showing them market. You guys are clearly talking about not $1.50 cards, I'm guessing. So, or 50-cent cards. We're probably in a different conversation. But yeah, I could see if you're looking at like table cards, case cards. Yeah, I could see why, to some degree, you're looking for the lazy to get the better deal. Let's see.
We're bumping up 3 hours already.
I know. We'll fold this up pretty quick here. I think we got a couple more questions and we'll go. If you are in a dollar box, do you look at a minimum threshold in case you lose on some? I like certain players. I know certain players that will sell. I have a lot of players that sell in bigger bulk, like multiple card orders. So I know I can get the money back. I shouldn't say no. There's a really high percentage that I'll get the money back based on multiple card buying. Um, so if I'm looking at in a dollar box, I probably want to look at a card I could sell for like $4, pay $1 for it. I mean, I kind of want a 4X to give it just sort of a very blanket, bland, um, what I'm looking for as far as, if I was to buy a card out of that box, what I want to sell it for. Because you got to figure, you bought it for $1, you sell it online for 4, you got probably another $1.50 or so in fees and expenses. You got $2.50 into that card that allows you $1.50 profit. That sound about right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I come at it. Let's see. That's the sassiest I've seen you, Charlie. Mental note, Jeter,
Jeter
trigger.
triggers, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, Adam and I have a long running conversation about Jeter, so
You know, you know what I'm going to get you for Christmas? Well,
a Robin Yount autographed rookie card.
no, it'll be for me, but it'll be for you. I'm going to get a Derek Jeter mask, and I'm going to wear it during the show. And anytime you say Jeter, that mask is going on. Oh, let's see. What is your tactic when making an offer on an entire box and all dealers want to sell a whole box? I rarely do that. And one of the reasons I like buying at shows is I like cherry picking. I want to go pick out the exact cards that I want. I have to buy quantity to get my price, but most of the time they don't give you that much better a deal on the whole box than they do like a stack of 100, right? Um, so I don't know. I don't really do that. I know of dealers, and I talked to Bo about this after Madison. He went out and bought a dealer at the end of a show, and the dealer gave him a pretty good deal because the boxes had been picked through, and he was just didn't want to take them home. But I don't really want all picked through stuff either. I don't want a bunch of stuff that I don't know. I'd rather go through and just pick out the cards that I want and that I know I can sell for above what I'll pay for them, and will sell relatively quickly. Um, and that's kind of what I've done. I haven't bought a lot of whole boxes. I've done a few here or there. That big box of Aaron Rodgers commons, that was probably my biggest whole box buy, but that was easy to list in quantity. They were more expensive sets. It was like black and encased, and some of these bigger brands, Gold Standard, cards where the base cards sell for a lot more, and I paid 8 cents a piece. And that was clearly somebody who didn't want like 200 copies of this one Aaron Rodgers card. And, I knew they'd be motivated to sell them. But they were 75 cents a piece, which actually wasn't a terrible deal for most of them. But I got the whole box at 8 cents a piece, which is a much better deal. So I don't know. For me, it would be extremely situational. I don't think you've ever bought out a whole box, have you?
I haven't. I'd have to find a lot of cards in a box that I feel really strongly about to consider that, and I haven't even gotten close to that in my experiences yet.
Yeah, and it starts costing you a lot more money if you're buying them by the boxes too, because you have to take whatever's in there. So, I mean, I guess we do a show every quarter where we have diamond quarter boxes. I guess whatever's in there that you can't move online, you could just use to fill your diamond quarter boxes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't do a lot of full box buying.
Some people do though, because
Yep.
I've seen your dime boxes sell
Mm-hmm.
complete.
Yep.
Someone says, you know what, I like enough stuff, and I just don't want to spend another hour going through it. What would you take on the whole box?
Right. Yeah, I would definitely sell a whole box. As far as buying is, I don't know. I thought about it a little bit with that 10-cent dealer in Green Bay where we find such good stuff.
Yeah.
I end up coming with like a 3 or 4 row box out of there anyway. I thought about, I'll just buy them all, but every time I dig through those boxes, there's a bunch of stuff I wouldn't buy too. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. So let's see. Thanks for the advice. Been a very part-time seller on eBay for about 4 years and looking to transition full-time. How long did 30K take to list? It took the full amount of time that it took to list 30,000 cards. A long time. It was a few years, and I was doing some every day and grab a stack here, list them there, and it just kind of grows and you just keep it going. I was essentially working 2 full-time jobs for quite a while. But if you want something, you got to sacrifice, and that's what you got to do. It was hard on me. It was hard on my family a little bit, but we were really building towards something that we could have for ourselves, in a way to gain some more freedom. Also takes more work. Like, there's a plus and minus to all of it. There's something to be said for going to an 8 to 5 and you get a paycheck on Friday and you're done. You don't have the tech stuff you got to do. There's other things that come with this too, but
Yeah.
but I love it. Working from home is amazing. But yeah, you really need to get the listings up there to a pretty good chunk in order to have enough consistent sales to be able to do it full time. For most people, if you
Yeah.
need income, if you're expecting income out of it, if you don't need to make money out of it, just quit now and do it. But if you need it to replace your income, I think that would be the biggest thing for you to look at is go, well, how much do I make on cards right now, and how much do I make on my job?
Yeah.
And can I make it on doing this instead of that? When definitely when you get to a point where you're making more money doing this than you are at your job, it doesn't make sense to keep the job.
Yeah.
Unless you want to still do both. But yeah, and it's like anything. Better opportunity comes along, you leave one for the other. That's how it is. I don't think Charlie has any intention of going full time until maybe retirement or something like that.
Right.
He'll see. Maybe when he gets to 30,000 listings and he's banking the cash and it's just coming out of his butt and he doesn't know what to do with it, he'll be like, screw it, I'm just going to do this. It also starts demanding a lot more time when you get to 30,000 listings. That'll be a big factor. Is just like, okay, in fact, you asked me this week how many hours a week was I putting in?
Yeah.
When I worked besides doing this, and it was a good 40 to 60 hours a week, I would say, in most cases. Yeah. So it's full-time plus. But I'll say this: when now I can work any hours I want. I don't have to work you gotta be here at 8 and gotta leave at 5, right? You're 10 minutes late. I don't have to deal with any of that crap, which is stupid in my opinion. Not that every job is that way, but my jobs were. I can work in the middle of the night. There's a lot of times I get up at 4 a.m. and I'll go, okay, well, I have these cards to list today. I'm going to list them now so that this afternoon I can go take the dog for a walk, or I can go take care of the leaves in my yard. Things become more yours. But that also means that they're yours. You have to do all of it. You can't just not work. So,
right.
I don't know if you're asking any of these questions. I'm just answering them anyway. But, yeah, it took me probably 2.5 years to get to 30,000 listings. And what's funny is I've been full-time since July and I haven't gone up that much, because what happens is you sell more, which is not a bad thing. But if I sell 200 cards in a day, I have to list at least 200 cards in order to be at a plus on the listing side. So listings takes on more pressure as you go too. You think, oh, I have 30,000 listings. That's great. I don't have to focus on listings as much. It's pretty much the exact opposite, because you're not going to have growth if you don't outpace your sales with your listings. So, especially if you got stuff laying around that needs to be listed, you got to get them over. If you don't have stuff to list, well, it is what it is. You're going to have to go do some buying, but Let's see. I think we can pretty much. Oh, this one's kind of fun. We'll answer this one, and then I think we're going to hang it up for tonight. We're at the 3 hour mark. That's probably enough for one day. What's your worst buys? Any bad buys come to mind? You got one?
I've had a few that I've come back and said, yeah, it didn't pan out the way I thought it was, but I have a very short memory for bad buys. Like, I just
Mhm.
move on, learn from it, and go to the next one. So I couldn't even tell you for sure what those cards were in those bad buys, but absolutely there have been times when I've grabbed things at card shows and they didn't sell the way I thought they would.
Yeah, I think it's like any fail, right? There's still value in it because you can learn from it. So I don't ever really think of anything as like a bad buy because even if I lost money on it, doesn't necessarily mean it was bad because I won't do it again. Like you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I would say probably my worst buy would be I bought a fake Joe Montana rookie card when I
Oh,
first got back into cards. It looked super real. It had like a little printing circle mark on it and all this stuff. As soon as I got it, I knew it was fake. I bought it online, and I wasn't thinking, I don't think like a bad guy. So I wasn't thinking like, oh, this person put a fake one up here for, I don't know, and I got it really cheap. Well, this was before the boom too, but I think I paid like $13 for it. Um, so it wasn't out a ton of money. I like to hang on to it because it's kind of my like reminder of, hey, there's fakes out there. Be careful what you're buying. And yeah, so that I would say that was probably my worst one. Now I did get a real Joe Montana rookie card shortly thereafter, and I paid $70 for it, I think, and they're upwards of like 120 now. So
yeah.
I even made up my money on the fake one. So I have the fake one and the real one, and I still pay. If you look at them both together, I still paid less than current market. So um, I feel like I recovered from that real well. It's not going to be a PSA 10 by any measure, but it's a nice shape. It's a real nice raw copy. So um, yeah, I would say that was probably my worst one.
I got a call back to earlier in the conversation that just came to mind that fires me up just thinking about it. But we were talking about pet peeves a little bit. I really get irritated when I'm in a dollar box or a 50-cent box and I try to make a deal. And then the dealer's like, well, I don't know. Let me see who you got in here. Like,
Oh
and
yeah,
then they go through every card seeing who it is. And then they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, it shouldn't matter who it is. It's just the number of cards, right?
right, right.
So that drives me nuts.
Yeah, I probably would walk away from that deal
Yeah.
in that case. So funny, I just got an offer on a Spellbound card. Spellbound,
Nice. We were just talking about those tonight.
yeah, Spellbound Tom Brady, $18.
Okay.
So, and I probably paid dollar or $2, out of the
Yeah.
box. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I think that's going to do it for us this week. I gotta take the dog out and have a nap before tomorrow. Tomorrow's dump day. I got to take a bunch of stuff to the dump, so I'm looking forward to that. I like it when stuff leaves my house. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff
In
you
our
don't
house,
want. Stuff you don't want.
Mom was at the Trans-Siberian Orchestra show tonight, so I'm
Nice.
hoping my boys were responsible enough to go to bed on their own tonight, but we'll
Oh
find out when I
boy.
go back upstairs.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that show. We haven't gone in a couple of years, and we think Luna's old enough now to go. The tickets are really expensive now, though. Holy
Yeah.
crap! We were like three of us, and like $500 to three of us. I'm like, ooh.
Well,
Um,
you don't have to get floor seats, Adam.
Charlie, when I go see a baseball game, I want to see Derek Jeter play. Okay,
There, here we go
So,
again.
no substitute. None of this cheap
Trigger,
seat. None
trigger,
of this cheap seat.
trigger.
I Charlie, I'm putting on my mask.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so but we did buy we did get tickets to Breakfast with the Grinch. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
Yeah, so it's at the I think it's at the Rush Center. It was very affordable. And we bought a 4 ticket pack, so Luna's gonna bring a friend, so she's pretty psyched about that. But you go there in your pajamas and stuff, and they serve you this like Who style breakfast with like pancakes and stuff like that, and then they have like a little show, and the Grinch comes out and does his whole bit, and we thought, man, that's super fun.
Yeah.
Just an easy thing. Who doesn't love the Grinch? When she was younger, we did the Polar Express at the Railroad Museum. Did you do
Yeah.
that one at all? Man, was that awesome!
Yeah, we didn't
You
do
know,
that
and
one. We
you
did.
ride on the train, and yeah, it was great.
They were really young when we did an event there, and it was the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep. I remember when Thomas came. But I feel like we live in the city where the National Railroad Museum is. We should probably go at some point.
Yeah.
That one, but that was fun. They had like a dance company there, and they did the hot chocolate dance, and you got hot chocolate. They came and gave you one, and everybody got a little bell. I mean, I shouldn't say they didn't give you anything. It was $120 a ticket. You know what I mean? You paid
Yeah.
for it. But they had a train conductor there, and then um, ticket prices were based on the different cars. So, like, if you wanted the dining car where they had like Santa in there and he gave out the gold coins, and Hobo Joe came through with his dirty sock, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. You paid up a bit for that, so we did that a couple of times. But man, such an awesome event! They had like a bunch of stuff outside, and when the train would go around, you'd see like the deer and like the different things from the movie, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was super fun. So anyway, enough of that. All right, thanks everybody so much for joining us. We appreciate you. If you're watching this after the live and it's being posted, thanks for watching, and hopefully you can join us live next time. Again, we are here 8 o'clock Central Standard Time every Wednesday, 8:05.
You know, vibe.
And it always consists of me, Charlie, and our man Stuart.
Stewie!
He always gets the last word.
He does. He just had it. What do you mean?
I talk after him. He's got to go again.
Oh my gosh. I think you're Stewie's biggest fan.